Let me ask you this question. Are you ready for Championship Mondays? Well, while you consider that for a minute, let me show you someone who is absolutely ready for Championship Monday. That would be Kevin VanDam, a limit in the boat already.
Wow! Yes. Oh, my God. He is your champion, ladies and gentlemen.
It's the Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Elite at Ross Barnett. Being brought to you live by Lowrance.
Hey, we got Monday Night Football. Why can't we have Monday morning bass fishing? Championship Day bass fishing on the Bassmaster Elite Series. That's what it looked. Ouch! That's what it looked like yesterday on Ross Barnett. Some heavy-duty weather bearing down on south central Mississippi at the time they were supposed to start the championship day. Really had no choice, Davey Hyde, but to call this one for Sunday and postpone it.
You're exactly right, Tommy. Trip Weldon, he stayed up most of the night, keeping up with the weather, and there was no way to go out there and be confident that people would be safe. It was just a lot of wind, a lot of rain, and especially a ton of lightning, tornadoes. Kevin said they had a tornado pass about a mile from where they were staying in the hotel. It was just no way you could fish yesterday. So we're going to have some fun today.
We absolutely are. You can see the radar of that system, which was huge and slow moving. One state over in Arkansas where they had 7, 8, 10-inch rainfall amounts. It really got tightened up, though, by the time it got to the Ridgeland, Mississippi area and went through a little bit faster than everyone thought. So not as much water was dumped on it. And look at today. Yeah, it's bright. It's clear. Definitely a post-front situation here today. And that's our leaderboard to start the day. After day number 3, the rookie Dustin Connell from Alabama coming up big time. A 5.5-pound lead. That's pretty huge on a fishery like this.
That's a big lead on a place like this. It'll be tough for these guys to make it up, but the thing that's going to be so interesting today when the fishermen get to their spots, how much the water has changed. A lot of dirty water has been moving around with the wind and the rain that happened in practice. So it'll be real interesting, especially for Dustin Connell, once he gets up the river to see if that water's dirty or not.
Yeah, the true extent of the water out there is different than what we expected it to be. So the results may be very different. Of course, we're seeing some surprising results today. We're going to roll that all out for you. These guys have been fishing for now, well, a better part of it, almost an hour. They had some travel time in there, and Kevin VanDam, as we said, already got a limit in the boat. Welcome to the Toyota Bassmaster Studios. Welcome to Championship Monday. I'm Tommy Sanders here with Davey Hyde. Of course, we got Such, Mike Sukon in the house. What are you looking at today, Such?
Oh, getting here to work was a chore. The road was closed till I got up at 4 a.m. and they finally opened it. So the weather has been affecting everybody up and down this whole range, and it's horrible. Tornadoes and 15 dead and people displaced and energy out, just awful.
Yeah, a lot better though than what we thought. Ronnie, what do you got going this morning?
I'm excited to see young angler Dustin Connell. We've seen a lot of rookies. We've seen a lot of young guns, Jacob Wheeler, Jordan Lee, all find success this year. See if this rookie can handle it on the final day.
All right, we talked about Kevin VanDam. We saw you a little glimpse of it. We don't have perfect service at this first place where he stopped, but we got some pictures of what went on in a very short period of time, David.
Kevin came out of the gate running like you would expect. You would expect no less from Kevin VanDam, and he's in a good position. He's fishing different. He and Jonathan are fishing different than anyone else that we've seen with the camera on them this week. They're fishing a little offshore, fishing some contour changes where these fish are sitting right close to the current, and they're grouped up. When these guys catch a fish, they both told me they usually catch 6, 8, maybe even 10 in 10 casts. They're just piled up, and Kevin said I can give them a break as long as the water doesn't dirty up. I can give them a break, come back an hour later, and call you a shot and catch them again. So It's going to be a great day.
Yes, it is. There is no telling what is going to happen out here today. We brought you in the long way from out there in space down to our playing field for this week, Ross Barnett Reservoir. First time ever for the Bassmaster Elite Series to be here on this 33,000 acres of water on the Pearl River, south central Mississippi, and that's the way our anglers are laying out on this day today. Up there all the way, Jonathan VanDam and Dustin Connell. Jonathan VanDam in the mix as well. We got 2 VanDams in the top 4. It's an unusual day, and Oh, man. I'm going to say it again. I'm not going to be crazy enough to go out on a limb and say what's going to happen today, Davey.
No, it's a crazy day. For one, we're sitting here on Monday morning instead of Sunday morning, but 2 VanDams in the field, and we've got a great young angler, Dustin Connell, with a sizable lead, like you mentioned, but he's got some people chasing him for sure.
Hey, maybe Dave Mercer will be crazy enough to predict what's going on today. I don't know. Triton on the line, Dave Mercer, as we always get a visit with him after he sends the anglers out there. Dave, let's hear it. Let's hammer us with your predictions.
Well, I mean, you're right. You can't predict what's going to happen here because you couldn't predict what's going to happen in this event. And when standing here along the shoreline, it's hard to believe it's the same body of water these guys have been fishing the last few days. I mean, a beautiful, beautiful day here. It's hard to believe that people were fleeing from anything here yesterday. But the guy, you know, with all the pressure on him, obviously, Dustin Connell, and the question is, can the conquering Carhartt College pros continue? Basically, you know, 2 events after what Jordan Lee making history. I talked to Dustin on the dock this morning and said, you know, how much is that playing in your head? I mean, Jordan Lee is a very close friend of his. You know, they've got a lot of history. They grew up in the same area. They competed against each other. They were both in the Carhartt College, the original Carhartt College bracket to get to the Classic. I said, how much did what Jordan do affect you? And he said 100%. He said watching Jordan win the Classic you know, just motivated him to say, why not me? But the question is, can he hold off the VanDam that's behind him? I'll be honest, guys. It is definitely Dustin's tournament to lose with a big weight like that. I mean, he's almost got a lead as big as the Big Bass, and we've talked about that in the past. But you don't want to be holding off these guys. Talking to both VanDams yesterday, very, very confident. Kevin told me that on day 3, he could have had way over 20 pounds because he basically spent a lot of his day just holding Brandon Card off. And we saw that in the footage, you know, Brandon Card in the same area, and he kind of played a little decoy and kept him off his area. And he said that he could have had a much, much bigger bag. So if that holds together, if they can continue doing it, it's going to be hard to hold off Kevin VanDam, but it's also incredibly difficult to make up the kind of lead that Dustin Connell has on them.
Yeah, Dave, you know, yesterday when we were, before yesterday was actually rained out, we had predictions of huge amounts of water coming down the Pearl River and just about a certainty that Dustin Connell's situation would be totally changed and in many ways wiped out. When we knew today that there'd been far less water coming into the watershed for the Pearl River there as we start this final day, did you see a little perk up in Dustin Connell's demeanor before we started this tournament? He seemed a little bit more confident, a little bit less unsure of what might happen today?
He really did, and it was shocking. You know, I was amazed at how calm he was on the dock this morning. You know, with those guys lined up behind him, and with 24 hours to sit and think about that. Just put that in perspective. Think about, you know, you've dreamt of this moment your whole life, and Davey, of all people, you understand, you know, that we've talked in the past of how important that first opportunity to win on the Elite Series is, and how oftentimes people have to take several runs at it before they actually get it done. But, you know, with all the pressure and with all that going in, and then to stall it out for 24 hours and still to be so calm on the dock was amazing. I think our entire field really is incredibly calm because the water influx that we got in this area, the way the storm came, I mean, it was very violent and very quick, but we didn't get near as much rain as they had predicted. At one point, they were saying we could get 4 to 6 inches of rain. We got nowhere near that. So I really think a lot of this lake is going to be fishable. Dustin Connell felt confident about his area and being able to still catch him up there. Several of our outdoor riders actually drove up to that area midway through the day yesterday, and they said it was not affected as much as they expected. So our entire field really, I mean, Fred Rabanis, I talked to him at the side of the dock, and he said, man, this lake is going to fish good today. They are all feeling like the break actually is going to help them. They said this lake has been getting so much pressure on it through tournaments leading up to this, and obviously everything that's gone on here with the Elite Series, but they felt that the break, even with the influx of water, even with the, you know, changing conditions, they felt that the break was going to make this lake fish better. So I don't think it's just Dustin who's feeling comfortable, but it's the entire field.
Well, obviously Kevin VanDam's got to be feeling, and Dave and Davey, I mean, how huge is it to have a limit already in the first 30, 40 minutes out there today?
It's certainly huge. It makes you feel good, and when Kevin VanDam gets on a roll, we've all seen what can happen there. But Dave, I'm going to put you out on a limb here. I think it's so important to be able to be there with the guys, and you said everyone seemed confident, but who's the two that we should really keep an eye on today? Just by the way they were acting this morning, how confident, how poised they were. Who's the two? Is Dustin one of them for sure?
Dustin for sure is one of them, and the other one is the guy we just talked about, Kevin VanDam. I mean, I'm not saying that Poche is not confident. He just did not have the same level of confidence Kevin has. I mean, and nobody does. I mean, he's Kevin VanDam. But you know, Davey, you know, Tommy, you know that look. There is a look you get from Kevin when he feels like he'll never say, I'm going to win this, but he will always say, I have the kind of bites that I know special things can happen out there today. And I spent a bunch of time with Kevin and Johnny yesterday, and I think they're both very confident, but Kevin VanDam is a scary one to watch, and I'm very interested to see the way they're fishing, because I didn't talk to them about what they were doing, but I have a feeling that they're doing something, and Johnny said it earlier in the week. It's a very, very northern technique, so I'm going to be watching Bassmaster Live just to see exactly how they're catching them, but if they're catching them the way they think they're catching them, it's pretty innovative and very different than anybody in this field.
Guys, let me ask you this. If you were Dustin Connell this morning, and you have a reason to believe that maybe my water's not going to be as messed up as I thought it was going to be, would you go straight to that spot way up the river just to know, just to put it in your mind that's going to be available to me today? Or would you do your regular little route, getting up there, take your usual stops and so forth, try to make things as normal and stabilized as possible?
I'll go first. I would do my normal route. He's leading the tournament. He's got a good lead. I'd do my normal route, but I'd certainly have it on my mind.
And now he's got one on. Now that's a good sign for Dustin Connell. He's apparently a good keeper. Terrible service right there, but we did see him, Davey, stop at that, make it, like you say, run his regular thing, keep things normal, and then he left. And where he is now, we're going to have to discern for you. But one in the boat, that's a pretty good sign.
Yeah, oh yeah. It means a ton to be leading this event, rookie season, and him to put that first fish in the boat. That's huge for him.
All right, we're going to see if we can tighten up that video on Dustin Connell a little bit. It's all going to be way up the river here, obviously, a good bit of the action today. And Dave Mercer, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And what have you got coming up later for us, Dave? I know you're out there risking life and limb to bring us some video yesterday. What are you going to do today?
Oh, well, we're going to be around the venue here and see if anybody's left. I mean, basically everybody's gone. I mean, I feel like it's kind of like my prom. I mean, when I showed up, everybody was gone. By the time I came up a day late, and the party was over already, but I partied all by myself. But I will be partying here all by myself and watching this tournament. One thing to keep in mind, this tournament is still – Dustin Connell is still in control of this tournament. It's easy to look at what Kevin's done this morning. Kevin said it himself. He said, if Dustin Connell gets 15 pounds, it's going to be really tough to catch him. So, if he can get his job done, and as you guys said, he's already got one fish in the boat, could be scary, but nobody else can hunt you down quicker than Kevin VanDam.
Yeah, well, Dustin Connell, good start. Thank you, Dave. Good start. Thanks to Dave Mercer, as always, there, helping us get every day started here on Ross Barnett Reservoir, and now back out on the water and listen to Kevin VanDam with a limit in the boat already.
All right, Kevin, they're listening now. Let's give the viewers a quick update on the quick start.
Well, we got off to a good start for sure. I caught quite a few fish. Kind of made a pretty bold decision. I hope it doesn't haunt me later. The first bite I got was about a 3.5 pounder, and I hooked him in the tongue, so I had to throw him back because I feel like I'm gonna have to catch bigger ones than that. But I don't know. I hate to guess, but I know he's short. So I only got 4 in the box now, and I've caught a dozen.
Oh.
Oh, it is what it is, I got a lot of time, a lot of places to fish, and you have to when you're 5+ pounds back, you got to do that. On Saturday, I caught a 2-pounder, the same thing, and he ended up dying on me, and I was catching 4-pounders that I had to throw back because you can't call a dead fish. So it cost me, 2.5 pounds, and that's would be that much closer. So. Yeah, do the best you can. Nobody ever wants one eye, but they just that way. And
all right, we're having a little trouble with the audio breakup, especially there. Well, 4 in the box. He said we had reports it was 5 in the box. In the heat of the moment, 4 looks like 5, I guess, or something like that.
I could understand what he was talking about, even though it was tough service, because I've talked to him and he told me about he's caught 5 keepers today, but he hooked one in the tongue.
Yeah,
and he was afraid it might die, and you can't cull that fish. The bass rules won't let you cull a dead fish, and he said that on day 3, he had a 2-pounder die on him. He had no idea why, just opened the live well up to cull, and there it was. And then throughout the day, he just kept catching bigger and bigger fish, but you can't cull a 2-pounder, so he caught 3 and 3.5 pounders that he had to throw back because that 2-pounder's there, and it could very well cost him the chance to win this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Would have had 20 pounds plus if he hadn't had that unfortunate incident. But he got the.
Hey, it's the rules, and everyone goes by them. So.
Same for everyone. And Kevin VanDam included. He's certainly done a good job of doing what he can to make up the deficit early today. But again, we've got 8 full hours of fishing today. They started at 6 local time. Going to go till 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 Eastern today, and we'll follow it up with the weigh-in and determine our champion right here on Bassmaster.com. Brent Chapman on the right, in a familiar-looking area there. That marina there has played during the course of this tournament.
We've seen it every day. We certainly have. And some good top water action. Dave Mercer was talking about the guys feeling confident this morning. I talked to Brent Chapman, and he's another one that he felt really good about his chances going into today.
That trash, I can tell you that. It stinks. We had to come over here to the service trucks, and man, it just was. Yeah, it is. It's crawfish and.
Started listening in for some scintillating conversation there. That's what we got. Chapman, like Kevin
I'm ready
VanDam.
to put a show on for you, and they're just not cooperating.
Wish you the best. I promise you that.
Well, thank you.
The high pressure today usually will slow down that top water bite. Those blue skies.
It's great being here. I enjoyed fishing this place till today. I don't understand it. We'll figure them out. What's that? Yeah, every day. And that was with 10 boats in here that I had to fight it over with. They've had a day of rest, and I know I'm the first cast on all this stuff, so it doesn't make sense. It might be that stinking trash. Maybe it's ran them off. Well, we'll work this right up here, and then we're gonna work around the corner there, and if something doesn't happen,
This is the same area Brandon Card caught a lot of his fish to have that 22-pound bag the first day, but that first day it was cloudy. Brandon Card referred to it as spitting rain, and just very, very different conditions. I know Brent's tickled to have this place to himself, but this high pressure looks like it's really put a damper on the top water bite there this morning.
High pressure and post front, and Ronnie Moore was asking, as I'm sure a lot of our viewers are asking, are these Florida strain bass in here? And you said most likely not. So that'll help a little bit, right?
Right, exactly. But still, fish post front, like you said, high pressure post front, it's amazing to me. And through my whole career fishing, you learn something. You can learn more and more every year. And you've heard me talk about my pond at my house. Mm-hmm. I feed bluegill and bass every morning that I'm home. I walk out, and it's enjoyable to watch how they react and how they act during different conditions, weather conditions. And even bluegill, post front, high bluebird skies, eating pellets, there's no reason for them not to just come up and eat them. No one fishes for them. It's the same food they get every day. And it's, Tommy, honestly, it's like they'll hit a wall, they come up, and it's like they'll hit a wall, they can't hardly even make it to the surface. The pressure, they just go right back down. It's real, real hard for them to even feed when they're trying to.
Do you have any theory, or does anyone have any theory on why that is?
It's a pressure, it's almost like
to do with barometric pressure.
But it's barometric pressure. They can't, they come up real hard, and just right before they get to the surface, honestly, it looks like they hit a wall. Mm. And I think it's the same way with the bass that when I see it with my eyes, and through my whole career fishing, that days like this, sometimes the top water bite goes away, but watching those fish right there in my pond really taught me a lot about this high pressure post front, cool morning day. It's 30 degrees cooler there this morning than it was just a couple mornings ago.
Huge difference. Well, don't forget about Keith Poche. He knocked out 20 pounds on day number 1. Had a little bit of a slip on day 2 and back just like the rest of our top 5 with 15 plus.
Yeah, he's certainly
on the final day.
You're right, Tommy. He's certainly got a chance to win this thing. Just because Kevin came out of the gate and caught all those fish first thing this morning, we don't need to forget about Keith Poche. He was in second place this morning.
Keith Poche up there in that upper end, and we're going to take you all the way up into the river. And Dustin Connell, we don't have a picture of him right now. He's so far up the Pearl River, and that was the case on day number 3 as well. But occasionally we can get a shot. You turn a corner, you get a little signal, and with the things we saw were pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. I'm amazed that he's basically got this pattern and this area of the lake to himself. It's textbook, and he's doing a good job. He's doing a great job fishing matted grass and also some limbs and trees that are over in the water, all the way up in the river itself.
He's what you'd call a river rat. He's an Alabama river guy, and just that's where he's done a lot of his damage throughout his career, and he knows how to handle situations, and I'm sure he finds some very familiar looking surroundings here on the upper reaches of the Pearl River. But Dustin Connell heading out today, you could tell he was aware of the great position he was in.
Get in the boat. My goodness gracious. Man, did you see him boil on my bait? That's another good one. We over here sneaking around. I finally got him. God, you ain't never seen nobody dive down so quick.
You ain't never seen somebody dive down so quick. I promise you I will be diving on them.
Absolutely. Dustin Connell definitely in his element. That again is footage from day number 3, which was Saturday. Up there in the Pearl River, way above the launch area. Everything coming to a head today, this morning, and finding himself in the lead on the final day. Something very, very important for a rookie like Dustin.
I don't know what to say, man. You gotta go catch him. Last day. It's like my 8th day on the water, man. God. No matter what, it's been a great week. I don't know how the weather's going to affect them, but I can't ask for a better position to be in. I've got a 5-pound lead. I got to put my head down and fish and just go catch them. Leave it all out there. At the end of the day, however it folds, that's how it goes. But I've already won in my book. I really have.
Well, you think about how long it took an angler as great as Jordan Lee to notch his first win amongst these guys, albeit a classic. And I mean, for Dustin Connell to be in this position heading into the final day. Ronnie, you were talking about that a little bit earlier. You've been in that. You're a college angler, and that's huge, right?
People think that it takes the college anglers, these young guys are taking it for granted, you know, the success, but I know how much it means to them. Like Mercer said, he's really good friends with Jordan. These guys battle head-to-head when they're just fun fishing. And it means a lot to compete at this level and be doing as well as they are.
And as Dave related to us, Dave, you ask him about the Jordan Lee thing. He absolutely draws a lot of energy, a lot of inspiration from that.
He and Jesse Wiggins both. Matt Lee, Jordan Lee motivated a lot of young fishermen, a lot of really, really good young fishermen. And I don't know that all the veterans wanted those guys to have so much motivation because they already are motivated and really, really good fishermen. And to be quite honest with you, Tommy, to see him and how emotional he got going out this morning, if you don't love that,
oh man,
I mean, that is just awesome. That's what makes our sport so great. If a guy's 50 years old or 20 years old, there's passion in their heart if they're involved in this sport because it's taken them a long time to get there. Some longer than others. You say, how can it take such a long time for a 20-year-old? But in his world, it's taken him a long time. He's certainly fished a lot of tournaments and spent a lot of time on the water.
I think it's safe to say this is the biggest day of his career so far. I mean, it is so hard. We've had this conversation yesterday, the day before, how hard it is. The numbers are against you winning ever in the course of your career out here. To get this shot in your rookie year is just unbelievable.
There's great fishermen that never win an Elite Series tournament, let alone a rookie having his chance. So it's, you got to be excited for him. But the number of tournaments versus the number of fishermen, it's just the odds. If you do the math, guys just can't. And when you have a guy like Kevin VanDam win 3 a year like he did last year, then that makes it even worse.
Well, that's the performance this week on Ross Barnett has put him certainly on top of the Rookie of the Year points there, 7th place overall. Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year. That's a tremendous position, looking great for the Classic in 2018. Southern Open champion. It's a great resume at a very young age, the age of 26. That's well, you can't ask for a whole lot better result early on in your career than what Dustin Connell has achieved.
And we talked about the Rookie of the Year. When you look back at past Rookie of the Year winners, they're solid fishermen. And him to be leading the points at this halfway through the season is also just an awesome accomplishment.
Well, once again, we don't have pictures of him fishing right now. As we saw a lot of footage from yesterday that we weren't able to see yesterday. We got the tapes back in. We're able to show it to you. But once in a while, as happened, not yesterday, but day number 3, you'll go around a corner, the service will be there, and sometimes we'll get some good pictures. So we're keeping our fingers crossed for a situation like that. Meanwhile, back much closer to the launch here in the marina. Pelican Bay Marina, is that what it's called, Such? Pelican
Marina? Pelican Bay Marina?
Not sure.
It was Pelican.
It's Pelican related.
Yes.
It's the biggest
Pelican
marina close
Bay?
to the launch. Down at the south end, down close to the dam, and a good bit of marina to work there. Brent Chapman has been sharing it, as he said, with 10 other anglers throughout the course of the first 3 days.
Just when you think you got this thing figured out and you got a plan and it's going to be all yours, these fish will throw you a curveball.
5-pounder. That's not asking for a lot, is it? Okay, 1 7-pounder.
The takeoff name is Madison Landing.
Well, yeah, I always forget.
Madison Landing, and that's right there around the corner.
In this thing, you have to be greedy. Yeah.
Pelican Cove.
Pelican Cove, that's what, I'm sorry.
Dang, you're so terrible, Tommy. It's way off.
The Pelican Cove people were counting on me, and I let them down again.
Tighten up.
I'm going to try.
I think it was formerly known as Pelican Bay back when They had Rebel Invitationals here when Ray Scott was starting the sport.
There you go.
Well, I knew we was going to have good service on Brent. I was hoping it was going to be on fire for him this morning. Get some good top order action.
No, we have been more than blessed as far as top water catches go so far in this tournament. We're shy of them today, but it has been a treat to watch the fishing on Ross Barnett. It was a treat to watch the weigh-in if you were around on Saturday after day 3 to watch our top 12 emerge and led by this guy, Dustin Connell. We've just seen some footage of what he did out there on the water. He's happy to bring this back in and take the lead with 15 plus on day number 3. But the big bag of the day, that man right there, number 1 man in the sport of fishing, 18 pounds and a half, Kevin VanDam. That's the battle we got going on right now, and Kevin VanDam with the upper hand unofficially, according to Bass Track right now, an early 4 fish in the box situation for Kevin VanDam. We do see Dustin Connell.
The Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Elite at Ross Barnett is brought to you by Berkeley, Hook, Humminbird, Mercury, Minn Kota, and by Nitro Boats.
Facts matter. All monofilament is not the same. Berkeley is the strongest, smoothest, most dependable monofilament line in the world. Why would you risk your fishing trip to a line that's made who knows where just to save a buck? Berkeley has been making and perfecting trilene in America for over 75 years. I spool nothing less than the best. That's Berkeley trilene, and that is a fact.
Champions aren't born, they're created. Every turn of the prop, every mile on the lake, every cast of the rod, every fish they catch, and every pound they weigh. It builds who they are. It builds a legacy.
Now for your 2016 Bassmaster Angler of the Year!
Hey, thanks, Dame. Out of office? Oh, man.
Hi, this is Skeet.
Skeet, out of office?
Dude, don't be mad because I thought of it.
What?
I gotta go. I got someone on the line. Go to teamgtfishing.com to check out my real job.
We're supposed to be working!
I am working!
Is there a place where the underwater images are the clearest you've ever seen? We're seeing every fish, we're seeing every detail of structure, and where every bottom contour was visible, where whatever you wanted to see below the surface was real. Do you want to go? Structure Scan 3D is the future of fishing. We can show you how to find fish faster and catch fish in a way you've never experienced. Let's get them.
Is this being in the moment? Is this hanging out? And is this really playing with your kid? Don't stop what you're doing to capture what you're doing. Keep running, keep playing, keep dancing. Just keep doing.
GoPro, start recording.
You're watching the Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Elite at Ross Barnett. Brought to you live by Lowrance.
Get in here.
I had a good day today. It went probably the smoothest day of fishing I've had the whole past 2 or 3 days. If the weather does come in and they do postpone it, it's going to hurt me. I think it's going to flood the river. But We'll see what they do. I don't know yet.
That was Dustin Connell, our leader, to start this fourth and final day after the weigh-in on day number 3 with the predictions for heavy, huge amounts of rain, a big wall of water pushing down the Pearl River. That was what he was thinking. That was the speculation at that time. And, of course, after the weather came through, it became known that it wasn't quite so much water, so he's in a little bit better shape than he thought he might be to start this day. And he's up against, this didn't change. Kevin VanDam is the guy he's up against, and that is always. That's a wall of water right there.
It is. Dustin Connell was very fortunate that we didn't get the rain, or they didn't get the rain there at Ross Barnett as predicted, because I really think it would have just made his fish toast, and he would have been in trouble. But he's not in trouble now. He's certainly got plenty of time to hold this guy off. But man, what better setup could you ever ask for here to have the guy that's leading Rookie of the Year getting the full test on championship day by Kevin VanDam, the best, in my opinion, the best that's ever fished Bassmaster tournaments.
Great day ahead for all these 12 guys. That's what Kevin VanDam is looking at. He has 4 fish in the box already, 4 keepers, and possibly 11 pounds, as much as 11 pounds. Glad you're with us here on Monday morning. Dave Mercer said yesterday, you've all got permission to watch, whether you're at work or not. If anyone has any questions, talk to Dave Mercer. Still, Boss Mercer said it was okay to indulge a little bit on this Monday morning. Really a treat. You never get to do this.
It is. And if you're just tuning in, yesterday Kevin had a dead fish, or day 3, excuse me. Kevin had a dead fish that he couldn't cull, and he had to throw back 3.5. He said maybe even some 1 or 2 4-pounders, because he had a 2-pounder that you could not cull because it's against the bass rules to cull a dead fish. This morning he hooked a fish in the tongue. Fish was alive, but he didn't want to take that chance, and he said it was a 2, maybe a 2.5-pounder. He threw it back. So he's already thrown back a fish that, who knows, by the end of the day could help.
Yeah,
could be the difference maker for sure.
Yeah. I didn't want to look at it that way, but you got to, don't you?
Yeah, when you throw one back that's a 2-pounder and you got 4, you certainly hope that he's going to catch a lot more fish, but you can't ever take that stuff for granted.
Tommy got a clarification from a viewer saying that area's the main harbor. Pelican Cove is just the grill we're all launching from, and they're covered there and getting our camera shots from.
I got you. Okay.
David got a question from Lee Courtney. He's asking if this high pressure, would that make a crankbait a better choice of a top than a top water?
The post front high pressure, like Tommy and I were talking about, it really hurts the top water bite. A crankbait might be a good option, a jerk bait. There's a lot of other good options, but I've just seen it. I've seen it multiple times when the top water bite goes away, and then gave the example about watching the fish in my pond, and it's incredible the way this post front high pressure just slams these fish. It just
so nobody's we got some other comments about barometric pressure doing this and that, and
I think barometric pressure is certainly part of it. The fish will still feed, maybe not quite as good as they were the first of the week when we had those low pressure, high temperatures, but I certainly think barometric pressure is part of the reason why these fish don't want to bite the top water on a morning like this morning. It's not the only reason, but certainly part of it.
Yeah, you got to figure in other things. Usually associated with that is more clarity, clearer skies. They're more vulnerable to predators, birds of prey, and so forth like that. That's probably through the generations developed into a trait as well that they associate with the post front.
You're absolutely right, Tommy. We talk about the spawn, we talk about the shad spawn. When does it happen? There's almost no one exact answer for anything in this sport. There's a lot of factors that play in, and that's what makes this fishing so fun, because like I mentioned with Brett Chapman, in the area he was in and no competitors there, top water, we've watched Brandon Carr catch them for 3 days. Man, you're going to smash them, and then they throw you that curveball.
They're the ultimate here today and gone tomorrow group, aren't they, those shad? The guys we thought were almost, some of them on the key to unlocking the shad spawn on Conroe, and then they get slapped across the face on the final day. It was just almost predictable.
Speaking of the shad spawn, someone who's been trying to capitalize on it, Mark Menendez, he had jumped into the top 5 after day 2, struggled on day 3, but he just landed his first keeper of the day, roughly, a 2-pounder. He might be doing the same thing, giving that riprap a try. Which, Davey, you can attest to this. When that water rises, it may not have risen as much as we thought it might have, but with it rising some, that riprap is like a hard edge compared to some people who might be up the river where it could go into the woods and fish can disperse a lot more. When you're on like a hard edge like that, those fish can't go anywhere but just rise with the water, correct?
Yep, that's right. Up the river, like where you see Kevin VanDam, if we had the rain that they were calling for, a lot of those fish would go back in the marsh areas, I would say, and you just can't get to them. Back where the alligators live.
Yeah, we've seen our share of them.
We'll talk a little bit about how Kevin's fishing here. He's throwing different baits, spinner bait, jerk bait, top water, swimming a jig. He's doing a lot of different things, but he and Jonathan are fishing offshore. And we talked about earlier in the week, we had some questions, why aren't some guys fishing offshore? Well, you see shore on both sides of him, but he's still, you notice the boats, there's one right there you see over his right shoulder. Most guys are fishing the hard line or the bank. And Kevin said it was incredible how good the Humminbird Lake Master map had this place dialed in. He can see all the ditches, all the depressions, the humps, the creek channel, the river channel. You can see all, and they're fishing not looking at the bank, not really looking at the vegetation on the bank, but they're looking for little drops, in particular depressions where these fish hold. The place that Keith O'Shea and Mark Davis caught the fish so well the first day, Kevin said he tried to get there the first morning and those guys were already right on what he called the juice. It was a small depression. So these guys are fishing these contour changes, but really the key to the ones that they've been able to catch their fish on is current. And the way the current moves around these certain places and the fish set up just outside the current, waiting on those shad to be moving by. And unlike the other guys that seem to grind it out, catch one, hour later catch another one, Kevin and Jonathan say they might go an hour or two before they catch one, but when they catch one, there's usually multiple ones. They're grouped up on these spots just outside the current.
Ish is on the board with our biggest fish of the morning, a 4.5 pounder. He's up there near the mouth of the river.
You can see how close the weights and how tight they are this week. He was down in 9th, 10th place. Ish was with that 4.5 pounder. It jumps up into 4th place. So you got 5, 6, 7 anglers all within, one decent fish at Ross Barnett.
Those 4.5 pounders, yeah, they move you here. They're those nice fish.
One thing that's interesting, I just got a Facebook notification of a memory from last year. This day last year was Championship Sunday at Lake Wheeler, or Wheeler Lake in Alabama. And Dave Lefebvre was also fishing there. We don't have a live camera on him, but he's fishing today in the top 12.
Yeah.
So 1 year from last year, he's fishing as well.
Here. So that mud is, yeah, a little bit. I mean, it hadn't affected them.
See a little extra pep in their step this morning,
Oh,
don't you, Tommy?
oh yes, absolutely. Everyone is ready to spring. Just put it that way.
Can't talk about it too much. Whether you're talking about a rookie like Dustin Connell or the veteran Kevin VanDam, when you get a chance to fish on the final day and you know you've got a chance to win one of these things, it puts a pep in your step for sure.
You know this is going to be a high point of your year, come what may.
Yep.
Bye.
VanDam with the unofficial lead as it stands right now. Still early times though.
If we could zoom in on that, there's the Lake Master map. And then, Tommy, of all things that have changed this sport, the mapping systems, no matter which one you use, but this is the Lake Master, the one that Kevin was talking to me about. It's truly incredible how you can see what's the contour and what's around you. And where Kevin's at, you'll see there's islands, he talked about saddles, and it's all about the way when you have these saddles and these islands, these depressions, it changes the current, and it creates more current when you have those islands, when that water has to flow through there. And he is definitely looking for these places, and he's looking for a little deeper. You see the blue, the brighter blue is deeper water there. Right there, that turn, yep, that's the kind of places that these guys are looking for. Jonathan and Kevin, the marker there where you have the contour lines close together, that's where the creek channel comes against that bank and turns real hard. Places like that, and then the darker blue that we were on earlier. Show you a little deeper. It's incredible the way these maps show you everything. And so many people forever just fish the bank or fish grass when you come to these places. And most of our field this weekend, we've been watching them all week, just fishing the grass, basically fishing the bank. And Kevin and Jonathan have really been paying attention to their maps, looking for depressions around these islands where you know you have that, where the current picks up and flows a little faster, and that's where these fish really like to set up.
Well, that is our hummingbird lay of the lake, getting the lay of the lake like we've never been able to. As you mentioned before, Davey, you think of a fisherman 50 years ago, pulls up to his favorite spot and says, boy, if I could just pull this water out here and see what's down there. Well, now they can do it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It was a treat for me to fish with people that were much older than me. That I remember when there used to be a field here, or there was old Jim's house barn was over, and you could gain so much knowledge from those guys because they remember before the lakes were ever backed up. Now we have these Lake Master maps, and gosh, you can show up to a place for the first time and know absolutely everything about the contour and the bottom. And once you catch a few fish, you can just go duplicate it throughout the lake.
Yeah.
Yep. That's Kevin's hummingbird right there on the right, and you see it's the same map we were just looking at, basically. And that's what he's using to find these fish and catch these fish. He's not really looking at the lily pads and the different vegetation that you have. They're fishing contour and contour changes. And it really and truly is where all these fish post-spawn should be headed. These fish should be really coming to Kevin and Jonathan the way they're fishing just a little offshore and really fishing these breaks in the current and contour changes. It looks like he's throwing a jerkbait now. He and Jonathan both are throwing, they told me, a Strike King KVD 300. It's the 3-hook jerkbait that Kevin throws a lot. And we haven't seen anyone else in the field throwing a jerk. I think Keith Poche maybe just a little bit.
He did.
One day.
Yes, he did.
But when you saw this tournament on the schedule and maybe wanted to name some lures that would be good here, certainly a topwater frog would have been one of them, but a 3-hook jerkbait wasn't one of the ones on most people's mind, that's for sure. Kevin told me yesterday when I was talking to him that he was catching fish on a lot of different baits, but this bait in particular he had caught some really good fish on. The shad that were out on these drops and depressions that they were fishing seemed to be really big for thread fins. He said like 4 or 5 inch long thread fins, which is that's unusually large for a thread fin shad. But that bigger jerk bait he thought was really key to him catching some of the better fish.
Kevin VanDam should manage to win this one. He'd be actually ahead of his schedule from last year when he won about a third of the tournaments on the schedule. The old washed up Kevin VanDam.
That's a spooky thought, isn't it?
Oh
If
my
he gets
God.
ahead of a season like he had last year.
Well, he is all business this morning, isn't he?
He is.
He is.
He is.
Sometimes he helps us out a little bit with some commentary, but I think he's kind of locked down today.
Yeah, the Classic, he was talking to us a lot, but he smells this one. But what's going on in his mind, I would think, he realizes Dustin Connell has just a really big league for this body of water, 5.5 pounds, and he understands that he needs to have a great day, and Dustin needs to stumble a little. Even though he's jumped out to the lead, we've got a lot of fishing ahead of us,
so
and you
much
certainly
fishing.
expect Dustin to catch 5 fish.
And we would love to be bringing you pictures of Dustin right now. We're not focusing on Kevin to minimize Dustin at all. We just can't get a picture of him right now. He's definitely the story to start this day.
Yep.
One time. Huh? Okay. Yeah. You ready?
Keith Poche is, you can tell he's really focused this morning also.
Absolutely, man. He is.
We've had a camera with him several days now, and he's all business this morning, more so than he has the last few days. Looks like he's in that creek that he moved to on, was it day 2?
It was day 2 when we had him and Mark Davis in the same spot, and they both finally made a move. And that was, yeah, that's right. He came up.
And it was really, really dirty. And it's dirty here now compared to the other place he was fishing, but it looks like he's cleared some. And he told me, I talked to him after that day about his move and why it didn't work out. He said the water was just too dirty. He said, but I'd caught lots and lots of 3-pounders in there. He said that really, really hurt me when my backup place was just trashed with mud, but it looks like it's cleared up. I'm pretty sure this is that same area.
And something we've been told leading up to this tournament, and we've been passing along every day, that's Ross Barnett is not an upland clear water place. I mean, these fish live in water that's all sort of stages of dirty and stained and so forth like that. Don't think you can't catch them out of a place you can see less than 4 inches down into.
One bite. I missed it.
One thing to mention, that shot of Kevin right there, if you don't have a Lake Master map or a card for your electronics to be able to see the contour. It's real important to, even though the pads are sparse, you'll notice that there will be an outside edge where the water drops just a little deeper, so you can pay attention. Even though these pads seem to be randomly just sparse, they grow out to a certain depth. You see right to the right of Kevin's boat, if you look, you see that pad line, and that's what he's fishing. You don't always have that opportunity to be able to read the vegetation or the grass and see where the little drop is. But if you don't have the Lake Master map, you need to have one. But if you don't have one and can't get one on a certain body of water, pay attention to the vegetation, the different types, and where it grows. And it'll give you a good indication of the contour.
Keith Pochet on the left, grew up in Red River country in neighboring Louisiana, still looking for his first Bassmaster Elite Series win.
I think high pressure after a front hurts our service also, doesn't it?
It seems to. I don't know why
Top water bite and our sail covers.
Yes, those are the two victims this morning.
Maybe it'll get better. Oh.
Well, that's 2 bites in 5 minutes for Keith Pochet, so that's got to be a little bit of good feedback there. Okay, so Fast Track now has done a correction, 4 fish instead of 5 for Kevin VanDam, which has Dustin Connell back on top. Dustin now with 2 fish and almost 4 pounds.
So it's saying 4 fish for 7 pounds? They look bigger than that to me.
He's back his biggest.
I had him just a few minutes ago, 4 fish for 8.8. I never saw it go to 5, and it was 4 for 8.8.
So he hooked his first fish, his biggest fish of the day, a 3-pounder, according to the cameraman Eric Kafka. I think he kept it momentarily, maybe threw it in the live well for a second, thought about it, realized he hooked it in the tongue, decided to throw it back.
Yep.
So when you saw 4 fish for 8.5, that was including the 3-pounder, and his 5th keeper was 1.5 pounds, which would make it go 8.5 to 10. So when you subtract a 3-pounder out of there, it only has 2 twos and 2 twos and 2 pound and a halves.
I just saw the ones that went in the live well go in the live well, and they look big. You know, it's less than 2 pound average there, those 4 fish.
Take a look at what we have. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one's out. Even 4, 5, 6 fish there right now. And we had an estimate from Steve Bowman, I thought, that was more than that.
Maybe a pound more than like
okay.
It was
All
10 to 11 pounds, but you subtract that 3, so yeah, 7 to 8 pounds. Yeah.
Okay.
He might have missed him throwing that one back.
Well, that'll be something to keep in mind.
Absolutely. Get a little better signal, and maybe we'll get it from the man himself.
That 3-pounder to throw it back.
Oh,
if he ends up weighing in one of those that weigh 1.5 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
But having had what happened yesterday, it was on his mind. He just says, I don't think I can win if I get in the same situation I was in yesterday, have a fish that I can't cull.
Keith Pochet with his potentially his first keeper of the day.
Yep.
Small, but it's warm.
Definitely a post spawner there. Fish is thin.
Gotta start somewhere.
Keith O'Shea on the board says you got to start somewhere. The leader to start this day, our leader right now, according to Bass Track, is Dustin Connell, and we mentioned that his status has changed. He has 2 keepers in the boat. Not much service, but we got a little bit of it right there of this fish number 2 for Dustin Connell. But yeah, that's right, Dustin. 2 of them. We got 2 hours down and 6 hours to go for these 12 anglers left out there on Ross Barnett. Day number 4 championship Monday continues here in South Central Mississippi. There's our leaderboard as it stands right now. Pretty tight grouping all up and down that leaderboard right now, so we are far from finished here. We got plenty more. 6 more hours of Bassmaster Live coming your way. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back very soon and get things going again, hoping for better service. We'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
Man, it's slow today. Yep.
Mom, I caught a fish.
Good job, sweetie.
Hey, what kind of lure is that?
It's a Livingston. They have electronic bait fish sounds that activate as soon as they hit the water. Easiest way to catch a fish.
Hey, thanks.
The competition is fierce and the prizes are huge. The only thing missing is you. Fantasy Fishing presented by Toyota. Sign up for free and face fans from across the nation. Grand prize winner receives a Triton Yamaha package including a Triton 189 TRX. MSRP of $37,293. The classic and each individual elite event winner will receive $2,500 Bass Pro Shops gift cards, with the runner-up receiving a GoPro Hero 4 black camera. Sign up and pick your team today at Bassmasterfantasy.com.
You know, at Advance Auto Parts, we have some of the most knowledgeable and helpful people working in our stores. We just thought you should know. Because buying online and picking up your part at the local Advance Auto Parts store is so easy that, well, the most they may get to say to you is, "Hi, here's your part." It's a shame, really. Buy online, pick up in store in 30 minutes. Advance Auto Parts. Let's get you back on the road.
You're watching the Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Elite at Ross Barnett. Brought to you live by Lowrance.
Championship Monday and 6 full hours of fishing left to go for the 12 left on this final day. The 5 we're watching, our raffle of 5 live. Well, here they are right here, our top 5 finishers from day number 3. As we head into this championship day, including this man, 5th place, Brent Chapman.
Brent Chapman really felt good about starting the marina area there this morning. No competition there, but the fish just didn't cooperate, but he's got a plan B to go up the river and throw a frog.
2 VanDams in the top 5. This man right here, Jonathan VanDam. He's won before on the Bassmaster Elite Series. You get this kid around around sniffing the lead a little bit, and he kind of likes to hang on to it and stay on top.
You're exactly right, Tommy. He's got that closer mentality. It's good to have him here on the final day.
The ultimate closer of all time is also in the mix, third place, Kevin VanDam.
He has been charging up the board each and every day. On day 3, he had a 2-pounder that he couldn't cull because it was dead, or he would have had 20-plus pounds, but had the biggest bag of the day on day 3.
Feeling really good about today. Keith Poche in a great position as well. Keith Poche with a 20-pound-plus bag on day number 1. If he can repeat that feat again today, he's going to be hard to deal with, absolutely. And Keith Poche with all the potential in the world today. And there's our leader, Dustin Connell.
Dustin Connell has really done well. He's been very consistent this week, and with a 5.5-pound lead, if he can go catch that 14, 15, 16-pound bag like he's been able to do pretty much with ease, Tommy, then even Kevin VanDam will have a very hard time to beating him if he can just have a good, solid day.
All right, it is a Monday. Because it's a Monday, it's a very unusual day for Ben. But you never take a vacation from Dick CPEC Tires and Wheels Bassmaster Elite Series Trivia. Monday, we got a Monday edition for you as well. Which 2 state record fish have been caught right here in Ross Barnett? Would it be the smallmouth buffalo, the bowfin, gar, dogfish, shoe pick, whatever you want to call it, the paddlefish, or the white crappie? Which one of those? I guess we're going to get to answer it now, maybe?
I'm torn between 2.
Got to go two of those.
Got to go 2? I was torn between 2, so I know which 2.
I'd say the Grinnell, the B, and I'd say the D.
I'm B and D also, Tom. Are we going to win or are we going to lose together?
Right. We're going down in flames together. Well, it's A and B. We were half right. We were half
50.
right.
The 57-pound smallmouth buffalo, and the bowfin was almost 19.
Wow.
The white crappie is the state's oldest record. 5 pound 3 ounces from Enid Reservoir near Memphis.
About
Back
that.
in 1957.
All right, from our trivia game, we're going to go right into another one of our favorite features. Call that Triton on the Line with Dave Mercer. Dave Mercer joining us here. Got us off to a great start this morning, and he's right there with Brent Chapman.
No, hanging out actually with Mark Menendez right now, and he's got 1 fish in the boat, guys, and we talk about it week after week, those critical adjustments that anglers make, especially in the championship round, and basically he has abandoned his initial pattern. Most of his weight has come from fishing the riprap along the spill wall. The wind is actually coming off that shore today, so there's no wind there, and he says when the wind's not there, the fish are not there. So he has abandoned that pattern and doing something different here, actually fishing right beside our takeoff just right down there, and he's fishing in an area that a lot of weight has come from. We've also seen Brent Chapman catch fish from here. We've seen Hank Cherry catch fish. A lot of people, Brandon Card was in here fishing. This is the exact area I talked about last week that I said would make a great hole course, and he has got 1 fish in the boat cycling through 2 different baits. He's basically catching them. Most of his weight has come on a spinner bait, and actually had a really big trailer on it, a long ribbon tail worm trailer on it, and bulging it across the surface, cycling between that and a swim jig, basically, a white swim jig, probably the most used bait in this tournament. He told me he has 1 other spot out on the lake that he plans to go to in a little bit, but he decided to take advantage of this low light time. Generally, most of the fish we've seen come from this area is right now, early in the day, when that light's low and that wind is blowing on this riprap. And that's exactly what Mark Menendez is trying to take advantage of here on Championship Monday.
Well, Dave, I know Mark Menendez, he's looking for his first win since Dardanelle, and he'd love to win this one for a good reason. He's kind of hoping to find a win for his son Max here. He's won Dardanelle for his daughter, and now son Max. It's Max's turn, right?
That's right. He said he needs to get a trophy for Max. He got one for his daughter at Dardanelle, and funny story. It was the week before the tournament. She asked him to bring him back a trophy, and lo and behold, he brought back the trophy. But he says Max has been asking for that trophy to come home for a while, and it's getting time to bring Max his trophy home. And who in the bass fishing world would not love to see Mark Menendez pull off this title or one of our upcoming titles? So much, amazing history in this sport, and an amazing gentleman outside of anything to do with fishing.
Yeah, of course, we're all tested in life, but it seems like Mark Menendez has had to endure a whole lot of testing, more testing than most people. And you're right, Dave, a lot of people pulling for him. You expect a lot of people at the weigh-in today? Pulling for everyone? Pulling for whoever's going to be our winner?
boat, right? We told people that they could take the day off, and evidently people are listening because, this gentleman right here, let's just do this. Let's go. Come on with me right now. Sorry, don't run me over. This gentleman right here, what are you doing right now, sir?
Can you watch some bass fishing?
Look at this right here. Look at how crazy we've made this sport here. He's watching Bassmaster live right now, and we've got several anglers. Who are you cheering for today?
If I had to pull one guy, I'll probably go Brent Chapman.
How are you not at work today?
Well, I actually just graduated college, so I have a day off today.
Oh.
I'm trying to find a job, but I decided to watch bass fishing for one day instead of losing.
What do you do? This is your opportunity right now to tell the world they might need to hire you.
I don't know. I mean, I got a degree in kinesiology. That's all I know.
I can't even say that word.
Love bass fishing, though. Love this. This would be a dream if I ever got to do this, but one day we'll see.
Did you ever imagine that you would be on Bassmaster Live today?
No, I didn't. I really never imagined y'all would come to Ross Barnett, but hopefully y'all come back. So we'll see.
Hopefully we do. We had so much fun we stayed an extra day, but thank you very much. We have fans all around here, and as you can see, I imagine we'll have a decent crowd down there. It's Monday. People have to work, except for all those people that have the note and can watch it on Bassmaster Live, but it's the same deal as always. We're going to crown a champion this afternoon, so if you're in the local area, get down here and let's jam this place. Let's have a great weigh-in this afternoon. These guys stayed in town an extra day to get this deal done, and let's make it special for whoever our champion ends up being.
Well, Dave, every day we've had the weigh-in at 3:15 Central Time, 4:15 Eastern Time. We got to remind everybody who's watching now, it's going to be earlier today, right? You got to put a different reminder on your watch there, huh?
That's correct. 2:15 Central Time, 3:15 Eastern, obviously. So make sure you tune in. If you're in the local area, come on down here. This is going to be a really unique opportunity when you think about it. Generally Championship Sunday, thousands and thousands of people show up week after week, and we appreciate it. The most valuable people in bass fishing are the fans, and we appreciate you guys showing up. But this is going to be a unique thing. Obviously being a Monday, a lot of people had to leave, and our crowd's going to be a little smaller. But think of that. Let's turn the negative into a positive. That's your opportunity to get access to these top 12 anglers. They're going to have a lot of time to spend with you guys. If you want to meet Kevin VanDam, if you want to meet Mark Menendez, if you want to meet Dustin Connell, get down here and be part of our weigh-in this afternoon at 2:15 Central Time, 3:15 Eastern.
Dave, is that guy in the truck across the street there that you went? Was he a plant? Did you just find somebody and tell him to be watching Bassmaster Live, or was this a true random person? You just went up to the truck and he's watching the show.
I'm not prepared enough to have plants. I'm not organized enough. I walked out of the room this day with no shoes on. That's how organized I am. But he's just a dude going along here, and no different than we have several people just creeping around watching him. So just kind of. He's more of a stalker than a plant, I'd say.
Come on.
He's got a degree in kinesiology.
Just graduated from college, so what do you do on Monday morning? Go watch Bassmaster Live. Bass Live.
You might as well before you get stuck in that grind, before you take on 40 years of work. Why not spend the morning in the truck? Even, sitting in a truck, there's a kinesiology major for you. Sitting in your truck. You ought to be out walking around watching it, though. That's a lot of people, a lot of the anglers, a lot of folks tell me and we don't recommend that anyone watch it while they're driving down the road, but a lot of people do use it as a radio show in their car while they're driving around, or maybe driving home if you're an angler.
I've got some friends that watch it while they're fishing a tournament. They've got their phone going and they're fishing a local tournament, a team tournament, a club tournament, and they're watching Bass Live. It's incredible.
Gosh. Okay.
He needs to hang out at the weigh and see if he can get a job, athletic trainer for some of the anglers.
Yeah. All right. Dave, man, thank you. What else you got for us today? What else are you going to be checking out? Can you get around and check out any other anglers, any others within your reach?
We'll get to as many anglers as we can get. We're definitely going to get over to the spillway just to have a look at how much water is being dumped out of this lake after yesterday's system. So we'll travel the lake and get you what we can, guys, and follow this action all day long. It's going to be a fun day. Championship Monday.
Dave, thank you.
It's a special
very
day.
much. Thank you so much. Good stuff out there.
Thanks, Dave.
From Ross Barnett, Dave Mercer will be the man in charge of our weigh-in, for our Monday weigh-in. Very unusual. It's like Monday Night Football. Think of it that way. It's coming up as Dave said, 2:15 Central, 3:15 Eastern Time today. So if you've been watching it earlier in the tournament, it's been an hour later. We're bumping up the time today. Jonathan VanDam.
Jonathan's fishing a little farther up the river than I guess I just assumed he was fishing the main lake a little more, but he's not as far up as Dustin Connell, but he's up there in the river, those oxbows and little backwater sloughs. There again, still paying attention to contour, looking for depressions, that sort of thing, just off the bank.
Skeet Reese with a 3-pounder. He's got 5 pounds on the day.
Skeet fished his way into the final slot in our top 12 after 3 days of fishing. Starting in 12th place and 9 pounds or so behind our leader.
I got to share this. Got a friend that owns a farm in Sumter, South Carolina, closer to Santee Cooper, not a couple hours away from me, but he's just texted us farmers listen to watch Bass Live while we're in our tractors also.
There you go.
So he's in his tractor this morning watching Bass Live.
Air-conditioned tractor, Bass Live on the tip. Farming ain't what it used to be.
It sure ain't.
I need to get me some of that.
You notice, Kevin, when he does get a little closer in and vegetation gets a little thicker, he's swimming that jig a lot.
Washed out that mud.
It's
a lot cleaner.
When he gets out a little bit, he throws the jerkbait more, it seems.
Well, Dave, we got a Twitter question from Anthony Leonard asking when you're fishing bluebird skies, stained water, a little bit visibility, what would you recommend as a good tactic?
I can't see if he's even there.
Not helping today. Water right here.
Trying to.
I caught him to begin with. It's gotten a lot dirtier.
Here, Kevin, just a little bit. I'll certainly.
It just funnels around these chutes a lot, so. They get some bites just coming around, you know, I mean, shad are everywhere, and these bass are doing a lot of roaming. Mats and things like that, and they'll set up on them waiting for shad to come out. These high pressure conditions, not sure exactly how aggressive they're going to be, but we'll see. I've got a couple other spots that I've got a lot of confidence in yet too, so we'll fish around here a little bit longer and then we'll make a move. I'd like to leave here with 5.
There's a little bit of shaky video of Connell on the left in case you were wondering. We're going to see if something shakes loose there for us in our favor.
Boy, it's fishy looking stuff he's in there, isn't it? Suit your question, what other baits would I recommend using during high pressure? It all depends on the body of water, water clarity, cover, all those sort of things. But the big thing that I've noticed that really hurts the most is top water. So my answer, the simple answer would be almost anything but top water. I would get away from top water, whether it be a jerk bait. Soft plastics really seems to work good when you slow down a little bit with this, when these fish aren't very aggressive. Kevin just mentioned the high pressure and these fish might not be very aggressive, but he's not going to slow down and throw soft plastics very much. But he can pause the jerk bait for about a half a second. That's slowing down for him. To be honest with you, like the picture perfect thing to be doing under these conditions, in my opinion, is what Dustin Connell is today more so than any other day. High pressure, bluebird skies, those fish tend to get up under those mats on a day like today more so than any day we've seen so far in this tournament.
See it's clean there, and I can see it's dirty here. Now that the sun's up, good. It's definitely changed it. They ought to still be sitting there. Snuffle it.
Again, we apologize for the audio not being top-notch or existent in some cases here, but just the pictures give us a good little story of kind of what's going on at the top two positions in this tournament right now.
They sure do.
Got a regular viewer, David Phoenix, asking, Davey, why do you think the swim jig has become so popular?
That's a great question. A lot of that just is because the way our tournaments have lined up. The shad spawn, the white swim jig is just a really good bait during the shad spawn. And the cover that these guys are fishing, it comes through this cover so well. Looks like a shad. You can work it through the grass and the pads. But it's something that I've thrown for a long, long time, and a lot of other folks too. Yeah. You fish a white swim jig a little bit, Tommy?
Oh, yes, up at Dardanelle I have done so. Sure.
Yep.
We'll see it at Dardanelle this time around, I'm sure, in a big way. And at our next stop, too, I would imagine some at Sam Rayburn, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Especially
early
grass.
morning.
Yeah.
Yep. It comes through grass so well, and these fish are feeding on shad. It's just the cover and the way we've hit certain bodies of water. It seems like the shad spawn has been a factor every single event.
Again, we look at these clear skies, these post-front skies, as we look at our TH Marine weather watch here, and it just doesn't look like Mississippi on the right with Kevin. It looks like Minnesota somewhere up there fishing with Kevin VanDam.
That TH Marine weather forecast has changed day 3 versus that. Holy cows. Couldn't get much better than that today.
As sticky and as uncomfortable as it could possibly be on day number 3, and now it's just crisp, clear. Looks like the northern tier of states in some places. Of course, you look at Dustin Connell's spot, and he looks like he's sort of back in a situation that looks like Mississippi for us here. But the weather definitely changed, a huge change, 30 degrees, as you said, difference than day number 3. So these guys, you don't worry about Kevin VanDam adapting to stuff like that. He's got so much experience and so many different ways of doing things. Dustin Connell, he's, as we say, experience beyond his years. You don't worry about him too much either. So this is going to be a great battle all the rest of this day. We got about 5.5 hours left of fishing to go. So that is a lot of fishing. Ross Barnett, second place to start this day, though.
Britt Chapman there has moved up the lake.
Yes, he has.
He told me that he was catching some really nice fish, fishing a walking frog around some grass, moving up the lake after the early morning.
Not too far from this guy right here, Keith Poche, notched his first keeper of the day not too long ago. Started getting bites about 30 minutes ago, so looking to keep that going.
he's the one guy that's been able to grind it out and keep a camera in his boat all 3 days. Got to give him credit for that. He told me he only had 6 bites on day 3, weighed in the 15 pounds. So the quality bites have been there for him. He had the big bag on the first day, and to only have 6 bites all day long on day 3.
Another keeper. Slow down. Oh, sorry. I didn't expect to get bit right there. I'm just moving. I'm just going to the other pocket over there. That'll work. They small right now, but they keep. This in practice.
Good example there of why your rain suit smells a little fishy some days, Tommy. Just
gotta wash that thing every
give it
now
a
and then,
hug.
right?
That's right. The last thing he's worried about right now is a little fish slime on his rain suit. If he catches a 6-pounder, he'd probably put it in his raincoat.
I was gonna say he was on his troll motor on high, and then he just made a couple random pitches, catches one, and then he says there on live, if you guys heard it, you know, I better slow down. And then
didn't expect to catch that when he said. He started to say something about this place in practice. I wish I could have heard that. It kind of got cut off right before he got to it. It might have been an A-list spot for him.
I think it's the place that he went to on day 2 when we had the camera, and it was a lot dirtier than it is now. And I talked to him about that area. If this is the same area, I think it is. He said he had a lot of 3-pounders in this area in practice.
Get in there.
We've seen Keith O'Shea all week, and the number of rods he's had on his front deck. You look at Kevin's deck there, he's got quite a few selections out there today also.
Of course, we see a lot just about anywhere we go, but we've heard more guys this week, I think, say, I used every one of them every day.
On Championship Sunday, you want to have about 2 or 3 out there and have a lot of confidence in them, but these fish, of course, these guys didn't know what they were going to run into this morning, having the day canceled and the rain, not as much rain as they forecast, but still an inch of rain certainly moves some dirty water around.
Yeah, we Kevin a little while ago pointing out areas of dirty and clean water all within this area he's fishing right there. It's just every little twist and turn you get a different look.
He's probably seeing a lot of that because he's looking for these places where the ditches intersect, but also around these islands, these chutes, current chutes, I think he referred to them, and you'll have the the clean mixing with the dirty, and I think that's probably a big key to his pattern, being around where you have those mixing water, being able to fish just in the clear water where those fish want to group up.
We had Dave Lefebvre talking about the importance of the mud line he was fishing and the little spot he was in. You know,
yep, good point.
Those intersections, like you say, are what these guys key on.
So Tommy, do you like to, because we all have our preference, do you like to fish clear water or would you rather fish sustained water?
Oh, clear for me, because you know, I don't have any imagination.
Well, I must have a lot.
I'm not a very accomplished fisherman, so I like, you know, sort of being able to look down and get a little bit of an idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
You know,
I like the stained water more, but everyone's different. It's probably 50-50, I would think, among fishermen, the ones that like, and you see it on the elite trail. There's guys that certainly excel and they look for that clear water, and you see guys that you always know, Bill Lowen, he's going to be looking for that dirty water.
The funnest thing to me is the sun at your back, clear water, because you can see them chase things once in a while. And
Yeah.
that's really fun to watch a follow or
Yeah.
something chasing. You know, it's
At least you know you're around him and you got his attention. You might need to
feel
make
like
a little
I'm
adjustment.
not totally spinning my wheels here. I got something going.
I guess because I like the same water because I just enjoy being in the dark.
You don't want to know that. You can't handle the truth.
I can't handle the truth. That's a great way to put it. Boy, is that picture so different from day 3, day 2, and day 3. We might not get any flap per minute count.
No, it's
we've been keeping track
we can
of
put
the
away
last
our
few
meter.
days. Yeah,
we can put the gauge down.
Just keep fishing around. Just keep fishing around. You never know when you're going to get a good one. You never know.
Hear that music? We're about to blow the whistle. This is Monday Night Football. That'd be the whistle to signal the end of the first quarter. We just got a quarter under our belts right now, so a lot of fishing is what that means. Left to come, taking you all the way up to 2 o'clock. That's when they'll wind them up today, 2 o'clock local time, 3 o'clock Eastern time. And the weigh-in today, not 4:15 Eastern time, but 3:15 Eastern time. Mark that down right here on Bassmaster.com. The top 12 and Dave Mercer will get together and we will have a champion to crown when it's all said and done. Take a break. We'll be right back.
Facts matter. All monofilament is not the same. Berkley is the strongest, smoothest, most dependable monofilament line in the world. Why would you risk your fishing trip to a line that's made who knows where just to save a buck? Berkley has been making and perfecting trilene in America for over 75 years. I spool nothing less than the best. That's Berkley trilene, and that is a fact.
Champions aren't born, they're created. Every turn of the prop, every mile on the lake, every cast of the rod, every fish they catch, and every pound they weigh. It builds who they are. It builds a legacy.
For your 2016 Bassmaster Angler of the Year.
Tennessee, how's everybody doing today? We are excited to get this season kicked off. It all starts here.
Barely hooked, dude. Barely hooked. Yes! Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. Stay down, stay down. Stay down, open your mouth, open your mouth. Yes! Thank you. Yeah! That's a big one. That's for you, Mama. How about that right there now? Woo! Ooh, yes. Yes. Yes.
Bassmaster Elite Series champion, Jacob Wheeler.
Bassmaster Elite's second event for 2017 at legendary Lake Okeechobee. So much tradition here and so many amazing eye-popping results.
Yeah, buddy's right. Yes! Yes! Give me some high five with that. Yes.
Let's take a closer look at that one.
I never flipped a fish that big before, I don't think. Woo! Stay hooked. Yes.
11 pounds, 7 ounces, 11-7, and Timmy Horton becomes a 5-time Bassmaster winner.
Yes! I'll start off with the biggest one. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Good one.
It's 4 in a row. There he is. That's a good one.
Woo! That's what's this out here. Fat pre-spawners.
Yep. We getting it done today, boys.
Oh my God, yes. Boom, baby.
Boom, shakalaka, giant bass. Do you feel the big? Do you feel it? Do you feel it?
That is Toledo Bend Piglet.
The 2017 Bassmaster Elite Series Toledo Bend champion, John Murray.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. Don't get in there. Got her in open water. Oh, give me some nuts. Come on now. Give it up. Look at that one.
That's a Conroe beauty right there.
That is a big one right there.
Big one. Big one. Look at that. Get 10 pounder. 10 pounder. That's a 10 pounder, bro. Oh my God. That's a 10 pounder. There we go. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes. Yeah. How about it?
How about a big round of applause for Jordan Lee?
27 pounds, 4 ounces. Unbelievable! Your Geico Bassmaster Classic champion, Jordan Lee, 10 years ago, sat in those stands, and today he is a Geico Bassmaster Classic champion.
What is this meeting about again?
Fishing. Took my boat, boom, jumped over it, and I caught a giant. It was like a whale.
29 pounds, baby!
That's the last time I danced on stage.
Chief Fishing Officer.
How do I get that job?
I don't know. Go to teamgtfishing.com to find out more about my real job.
Is there a place where the underwater images are the clearest you've ever seen? We're seeing every fish, we're seeing every detail of structure, and where every bottom contour was visible, where whatever you wanted to see below the surface was real. Do you want to go? Structure Scan 3D is the future of fishing. We can show you how to find fish faster and catch fish in a way you've never experienced. Let's get them.
Is this being in the moment? Is this hanging out? And is this really playing with your kid? Don't stop what you're doing to capture what you're doing. Keep running, keep playing, keep dancing. Just keep doing. GoPro, start recording.
You're watching the Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Elite at Ross Barnett. Brought to you live by Lowrance.
The rookie, the former college angler for the Alabama Crimson Tide, Dustin Connell, in position to win his first Bassmaster Elite Series event. Quite an accomplishment for any rookie. But that's the way he started the day, with a substantial lead over the rest of the field based on a lot of his great work he put in on day number 3, Ross Barnett Reservoir.
Those kinds certainly help you right there.
Talk about a game changer, more so than just about any place we're going to stop this year. That one's going to be a game changer. A fish of that size could change it for anyone in our top 12 today.
There's another nice one. Just catching really good quality fish up the river farther than almost any other angler we've seen. Flipping a heavy weight in those mats is ways we've seen him catching better fish. And that one almost got back out of the boat. I think you won't dive on a $100,000 fish. I sure would.
A little wrestling experience right there. I think you may have done some high school wrestling. I'm not sure.
Fumble recovery.
Yeah, some of that, yeah. Could be.
Talk about how important ounces are this week. That fish, 2-pounder, could mean everything to his career.
Yep. Bet.
Every pound counts out here, and sometimes it gets really, really close. How close will it get today? A little early to say right now.
Is that a spotted bass?
Yes, he caught a big spotted bass.
Does he feel home like he's on the Alabama River or what?
He must be. Coosa chain or something there for Dustin Connell. Hummingbird lay of the lake. That's the way our 12 are laid out here. A couple of anglers fishing the lower end, but that is it. You got to go up closer and closer to mid-lake to find the bulk of our 12. We're all shooting for the $100,000 top prize here, and this is important. The top points in Toyota Bassmaster. Angler of the Year, Bobby Lane, Skeet Reese. They're playing on the west side of the lake. Over on the east side, Keith Poche. Brent Chapman was close to where Keith is right now, but he's made a move farther up, gone past Kevin VanDam.
And where we don't have very much service is where most of the top 12 are for some reason. But
we just not living right, I guess. We were so lucky the first 2 days of our coverage here. Had some great coverage of these guys who were fishing, admittedly, farther down. We knew we'd have trouble with Dustin Connell because he's so far back in the wilderness here. Get up there and it's just very, very dicey. But sometimes we turn a corner, we get a line of sight, and we can get you a good picture. So that's what we're hoping for today. Meanwhile, we've been giving you some good stuff from Keith Poche. Put 2 keepers in the boat in the past hour, and that's who we're going to go hook up with right now. Keith Poche fishing a little backwater, too far from a bridge area.
I think he started in this canal.
3 bites, a caught 2. I mean, that ain't, need to be bigger though. It ain't as big as I thought it'd be. Normally when you're flipping, but you know, there's little ones too. It's just, I don't know. I don't know.
Keith's about to get ready to set up and start fishing again after all move in that backwater area there, Pearl River. Two keepers in the boat for him, keeping him in the top 5. Our Yamaha Taste the Bait, not an unexpected bait for this part of the country this time of year, Davey.
Certainly not. We saw Bobby Lane fishing very similar to this. He's going along the outside edge of this vegetation, reeds, pads, grass, flipping a black blue creature bait. Looks like he's only using a 3/8, maybe a 1/2 ounce sinker. Dustin Connell is flipping the thicker vegetation, using an 1.5 ounce and a 2 ounce sinker. But Keith Poche tastes the bait with a black blue creature bait. Certainly a bait that you expected to see a lot of this week. No surprise there at all.
3 bites, he said, and 2 he's got in the boat. He knows he's not going to be putting up big numbers here, and I don't think he has any day of the competition here, but he has been grinding.
It's surprising where he and Mark Davis caught the big bags the first day. I don't think he's been there yet.
Yes, sir. I'm just back in this little creek and just flipping the thickest stuff I could find. The water's a little dingy, but some of these backwater pockets off of it are clean. That's where I've had a couple bites. But you know, this cold front, it's real. Just shut these fish down. I know my fish out there, it's just trash. I mean, it's mud, the wind's blowing in on it. I can't fish it like I want to, so just trying to get out of the wind and you know, find a few fish in here. I had 2 good bites in here yesterday. One I kept, about a 3.5 pounder, so I know there's some in here. It's just finding a couple good ones ready to eat. We're gonna give this a little while longer, then go try something else. It's definitely different. Now I'm just flipping a black and blue creature bait with a punch skirt, just a big present, something dark they can see. Just trying to get a big bite, man. I've had 3 bites on it already and missed 1 and caught 2, so throwing a 1/2 ounce, 1 ounce weight, nothing not too heavy. I'm just fishing some scattered stuff. I mean, it's thick, but it ain't that thick. Using 80-pound Sunline with a 7.6 eye rod.
Keith's moving along really fast to be flipping, just hitting about every 10 feet, it looks like, moving steady. We saw him catch one of his fish on one of these straight canal banks, but he's really trying to,
you know, I mean,
go to the pockets where the water's a little clearer.
History, I mean, you know, every time there's a little front coming through like this, it's cool morning, dingy water, it just shuts them down and it puts them underneath something. So a lot of times you gotta drop it on top of the head and get one to bite. So I need 5 lucky bites today. I don't think this is the deal here, but you know, I'm just trying to get something going, get a few fish in the boat and work off that. wouldn't have got bitten here yesterday, I wouldn't be spending so much time in here, but I feel like there's a few in here to be caught.
Bunch of bait back here. It's a good sign. There's a fish around here somewhere.
If that wind would lay down a little bit, man, I may go back out there and try it, but I don't think it is. My main deal, but that wind, that mud, man, it's just ruined it.
Well, you can really see Kevin and Jonathan are fishing different than the rest of the guys we've been watching all week. It's a good shot of Jonathan there fishing offshore, but it's only 3 to 5 feet deep.
Yeah.
The shallower parts of what he's fishing for the most part, he told me, was 3 feet deep, dropping to 5.
Probably moving a little too fast for this, but I'm just trying to hit the high percentage stuff, the thickest little spot I can find. Just trying to cover a lot of water.
Dustin Connell in the bottom left corner is trying to come in cell coverage wise, but just so you know, he caught his third keeper moments ago.
That'd be one underneath it.
Yeah, the battle right now between him and Jonathan VanDam in the upper right corner there with his limit in the boat and rolling up on 10 pounds.
Boy, I hope we can keep this picture for a little while, Tommy.
I'd like to see that.
2 pounders is a start, but not where we want to finish.
I've seen Jonathan VanDam winning up in Wisconsin and battling it out toe-to-toe not too far from here with Denny Brower over on the Arkansas River.
Well, that was a shootout.
That was.
Having to deal with the locks.
Oh, yeah.
Getting through them. Some guys got caught.
Oh,
Denny
man,
was able to squeak through there and make it back just barely on time, I think.
You were there at that stage yesterday, that very stage. We have to get you to tell us about that.
A little different scenery around there yesterday,
Maybe we can
Tommy.
play some video from that that you took.
Jerked it right into 3 pad stems there.
I was kind of wanting a day off, but kind of wish I didn't now. I don't know if that was a bite or not. Kind of felt fun.
I know there's some big ones around here somewhere. It's just a matter of getting a couple to bite.
O'Shea seems to be looking for fish more today than he has. He said his best spot out there where he and Mark Davis caught the big bags first day was trash, but he's covering a lot of water. And you can flip him, but typically you see a guy flipping a little closer together, especially on the last day. But he looks like he's really searching for new fish, new water. And Jonathan VanDam making repetitive casts to one specific break or drop where the current's mixing there.
Most of the guys, those 20-pound guys from day one said, hey, the secret for them was to find one place and just work it over from every possible angle.
It's very different for Keith because he was one of those guys. He stayed on
yes, absolutely.
day 2, and I think he caught all his fish there on day 1. I don't think he moved 100 yards.
No, it looked
all day
like
once he got
exactly.
to
I was
the
thinking it was a place about the size of a football field.
Today he's making a presentation there, pitching about once every 10 or 15 feet. Just Jonathan's working that jerkbait too. When you think through most of the country, when you talk jerkbaits, you talk about suspending jerkbaits that you let sit motionless for 2 to 3 seconds, sometimes even longer than that. But he's not letting that bait hardly stop, if it is stopping at all.
Just sort of a photo gallery of Dustin Connell we're getting on the lower left there, but you can see he's doing what got him here.
He is, and the water looks fine.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous for him, but when we heard it only rained about an inch, it's a lot better than it would have really. He would have been toast, I'm afraid. He would have had to find new fish had it rained as much as they were forecasting.
I was watching the Weather Channel, and they had tornado watches both north on the track and both south of the track of the lake. It seemed like the hardest rain split right around Jackson and Ross Barnett and missed.
Mm-hmm.
And there, Brent Chapman, that water's beautiful.
He's made a big move. Well, of course, we saw that. He'd gone considerably farther north.
9 of our top 12 have fish in the boat. Chapman, Rumbanis, and Lefebvre still yet to cash in a keeper so far.
So when you did your hunts in Africa, did you see a lot of the lions and leopards and all that stuff, or? Do you have any close encounters with any of them, or?
Lions and leopards.
How do we get there?
How do we get from Mississippi to Africa?
I think Jake, his cameraman, when he's not at Bassmaster events, goes around and does a lot of outdoor hunts and photography stuff. I hope it's not Eric Kafka over here in Little Rock with lions and tigers and leopards.
We have to go check the zoo periodically and see if Eric's in there.
Got a good shot of Dustin right there. The thick mat there to his right is just going out of the frame now. But that's the way he's been able to catch a lot of his bigger fish, flipping that thick mat with a heavy weight, 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces.
You can tell by the sunlight he's fishing the west side, so it means he's pointed south. Maybe he'll be getting better and better signal-wise as it goes on. We keep our fingers crossed.
Great point. I noticed he was up farther this morning. Maybe he wanted to go up there and see if that bad water was coming to him. Yep, there's a great picture of what Dustin Connell has been able to catch most of his big fish on this week. It's matted vegetation, and you can just look at that and tell it takes a heavy sinker to get through that stuff. But that's where those bigger fish seem to be living.
And you were very impressed. I remember on day 2 that he was the only guy really concentrating on that sort of thing, which is sometimes a key to a win.
It is, and just like several of these other patterns, some other guys had to try that. That's a place to look for this time of year. That type of cover, those bigger fish tend to want to get something over their heads, so to speak, especially, like I said, the weather for Dustin's pattern is picture perfect in my opinion today. That high pressure, those fish really tuck in that stuff, and that's what he's been able to get just enough bite. Sometimes to win a tournament, it doesn't need to be necessarily the pattern that you can get the most bites, even catching keeper fish, but just where you can catch. You only have to catch 5. Catch 1 an hour and it'd be the right size.
I ain't feeling it.
each passing minute, and Dustin Connell now with 3 keepers in the box. You got to figure he's time-wise, he's on track to get his limit today. There's no doubt about that. So these other guys got to be thinking 15 pounds or better in order just to hang, right?
Yep. If he gets just a solid limit, and I wouldn't bet against him at all with the conditions we've got today to just catch another solid limit like he's been able to do. It'll be tough for these guys to make up that 5.5 pound deficit.
All right, I'm gonna try something a little different here.
Jonathan didn't have quite as many rods on his deck as Kevin and Keith Potier, but he's getting a few more out now for us.
About 9 o'clock local time here, state of Mississippi. Thank you so much for joining us here on Monday morning. We're so glad to be able to complete this tournament. We didn't have to wash out a day. We got to postpone a day. So we're going to get 8 hours of fishing for you today, and certainly 8 hours of Bassmaster Live. Well, 6 hours of
Try a
Bassmaster
little
Live.
deeper crankbait. I'm seeing a bunch of them out there. They're kind of out and like sitting on the bottom and 6, 7 foot. So I just don't know if they can see that jerk bait right now. So the crankbait I have on now isn't quite deep enough.
Suits, you relayed a question to us from hashtag Bass Live a few minutes ago about would a crankbait be a good option to try with a high pressure? Jonathan's putting one on, putting new hooks on it.
Steve Wright had an interesting blog kind of detailing but not giving up all the goods on KVD and JVD and what they were doing, how they were looking at those Humminbird Lake Master maps and figuring out the contours and the wind, which way it's blowing the shad and how it's setting up and where the bass will be. JVD's been catching 30 to 50 fish a day here.
Yeah, of all the people I've talked to, he's been catching more fish. He said a lot of them were little, but just the number of bites he's been getting has been impressive.
He's got a limit in his boat right now at about a 2-pound average. Wrapping up this hour right now. Fishing on Ross Martin. Ross Martin? Wait a minute. I'm mixing 2 legs together. Ross Barnett. That was the scene on day number 3. Dustin Connell absolutely getting the job done and putting himself in the position you want to be in heading into this final day, and that was him this morning as he headed out. Pretty emotional time for him right there. Now, he was a little overwhelmed by the moment, David.
It was, and I'll be honest with you, Tommy, I got chills up and down my spine just watching him and his emotions and thinking about his rookie season. And long time ago, I had a rookie season. I was just as emotional when I was able to get my first win.
The new generation of anglers certainly played a role all season long on the Bassmaster Elite Series and the Classic. We'll have more for you from Ross Barnett when we come back.
The Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Elite at Ross Barnett is brought to you by Shell Rotella, Yamaha, Triton Boats, Toyota, Power Pole, and by Skeeter Boats.
Man, it's slow today.
Yep.
Mom, I caught a fish.
Good job, sweetie.
Hey, what kind of lure is that?
It's a Livingston. They have electronic bait fish sounds that activate as soon as they hit the water. Easiest way to catch a fish.
Hey, thanks.
If you love bass fishing, then show your support by joining B.A.S.S today. Since 1968, B.A.S.S has been serving bass fishing enthusiasts with information and tournament coverage that make you a better angler. When you sign up today, you'll join over 500,000 outdoorsmen who love bass fishing. With your membership, you'll receive every issue of Bassmaster magazine, plus $50 in free gear, including a membership tackle bag, B.A.S.S cap, plus more. Log on to Bassmaster.com to join Bass today.
Whether you're trying to figure out how to replace your rotors, change your oil, or install a new air filter, we know you've got a lot to think about. That's why we made our Speed Perks rewards so easy. Spend $100, get $20 off your next purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense, no thinking. Save that for the important stuff, like figuring out your anniversary. Advance Auto Parts. Let's get you back on the road.
You're watching the Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Elite at Ross Barnett. Brought to you live by Lowrance.
Coming to you from Ross Barnett here in Mississippi. First time for the Bassmaster Elite Series to be here. The second time for the Bassmaster Elite Series ever to hit Lake Sam Rayburn, one of the really iconic places in the sport of bass fishing. Lufkin, Texas, the host city for the Toyota Bassmaster Texas Fest to benefit Texas parks and wildlife. That's going to be our big mid-season bash right there. It's kind of what you might call a major for us, and it's going to be a major time down there. But David's going to be some major fish catching, I understand.
Good point, Tommy. Some major fish catching. I haven't been to Rayburn in several years, but I've talked to a lot of folks that have been there, including Mark Zona.
Yeah.
This year, it has been on fire. It might be the best weight, the largest weight to win, and even to make a check that we have all year.
Maybe the most fish caught per day, too. Yeah. So that's a good prospect, and that's our next stop. That's our next time we'll have Bassmaster live for you. For 3 days of that event. It's a 4-day event, and we'll do the first 2 days for you, starting on Wednesday and Thursday. Excuse me, a Thursday and Friday. We'll take Saturday off and have a Sunday finale. Unless we got a situation like we have here, and then who knows what's going to happen. But it's great to be here on a Monday. So glad you're with us on Bassmaster Live. Just lock in, put on the earphones if you need to and look very, very serious at work there, like you're working on some major problem right now, trying to get it fixed. But you got to keep up with this. This is a great battle. Dustin Connell, the rookie, trying to win his first Bassmaster Elite Series event. He's up against the VanDam Express, Johnny VanDam in second place. And his uncle Kevin right behind,
and Bobby Lane. Ronnie Moore, mine and your pick.
Our pick is hanging in there.
Maybe win this thing. He's sneaking right back up there into the top 4.
Probably needs 25 pounds to win it, but it's nice to be in the top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
He started the day actually 8 pounds, 4 ounces back. So it's still within reason. This big fish was 7 something. So
like that. I catch very few.
Watching Bass Live on Monday morning is certainly better than work, isn't it, Tom?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. The great compliment to work, we'll put it that way. It's like, surely you can do both at the same time. That's why.
A lot of people setting in their setups, the pictures of their screen, big screen show, watching our footage there.
Oh, that's super. That's super.
Davey, we have a fan question. A college buddy of mine, Nick Ladart, from Louisiana Monroe, one of the great college school, fishing teams, asked, for the VanDams, the guys throwing the jerk baits, are they throwing a suspending jerkbait or a floating one? Because I know they're fishing it around grass. There's turns and bends. Did you know when you talked to them, is it suspending or floating?
It's a suspending jerkbait. That's a good question, because when you think about shallow vegetation, you think about the old Bangalores and the obviously the Rapala number 11, those fast floaters. That's what most people fish traditionally around this vegetation. But they're fishing a suspending bait. The key here, if that bait is suspending, you don't want that bait to be a deep diver. Strike King makes a deep dive in, which we saw Kevin throwing in the Classic. But you wouldn't want to throw that bait where it just plows into this vegetation and gets hung up. But the key is to find a jerk bait that'll get to that vegetation, maybe make contact with it every once in a while, but be right there where those fish are located, close to that vegetation, just making contact every once in a while with that. But when you stop it, that bait sits there, and that's usually when those fish will bite it. If you notice, they're not stopping it very much. Look at Jonathan there. So the key is finding the jerk bait that runs the right depth for you.
Jonathan tied on a crankbait a little bit ago. Said he wasn't sure the bass that were hanging around the bottom were seeing his jerkbait. Wanted to make sure and keep them honest down there. Those ones that were sitting down low.
A little more vibration and probably rattles in that crankbait that he tied on.
So we may or may not see some more of that.
Got a text here from Steve Bowman saying he can practically chart KVD's course when he sits down by looking at the map. So he's been with him long enough to figure out the contour that Kevin is following when he pulls into these ditches, these backwater areas. Jonathan doing the same thing, obviously.
I have to share this pic with you guys on the live show in just a minute, but a buddy of mine works for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's a college angler as well. He's watching Bassmaster live in the whole racing complex, working on the cars and stuff after their weekend of competing.
Be sure it's okay for us to put that up there. I don't know if Joe Gibbs would have.
Yeah, let's see what setup they're going with next week.
He's a big fisherman, isn't he? Doesn't he he loves
him
and Childress?
Fan.
And yeah, they're
fishing fan. I don't remember him. Of course, it was before Bass Live, or maybe we would have seen it, but I don't remember seeing Joe Gibbs while he was on the sidelines coaching the NFL, watching fishing on Sunday.
Cool,
that was before our time.
Yeah, he may have. Yeah. He's probably taping it at home.
Yeah.
VHSing it.
Yeah. State-of-the-art technology.
Yeah, that's right.
Looks like Jonathan's throwing that crankbait now. It'd be interesting if he's able to get a few of these fish to bite. Jonathan and Dustin seem to be fishing exact spots. Dustin is moving along the riverbank, not quite as fast as Keith O'Shea, but he's looking for those mats, those really thick mats. And he makes several flips with those heavy weights flipping down in those mats, where Jonathan is fishing obviously very different than Dustin, but he knows exact contour changes that he's looking for instead of these mats like Dustin is fishing.
Let's do a little more Triton on the line now. Conspicuously absent from our broadcast so far this week from Ross Barnett is our pal, the Z-Man, Mark Zona, on the line. Now, Z, have been able to, this Monday morning, follow along a little while with what's going on here?
I absolutely have, Tommy and Davey and Such and Ron. I'm not going to lie. I kind of sort of love Bassmaster Live on Monday.
It's not bad. We got Monday Night Football. Why not Monday morning bass fishing?
Well, exactly right, Tommy. And I've been at the NFL draft doing some activation, as you well know.
Yes.
We had a huge finale, had Lou Diamond Phillips and Billy Ocean on our finale for our Play 60 activation.
That's fantastic. That is a trip to the stars right there.
Exactly. And hey, seriously, watching this tournament transpire, and Davey, I'm going to throw this to you, is you look at this final day, you look at the names that are in there, and I mean, gosh, man, you're talking about some of, I heard you talking about, VanDam a little bit, but you're talking about some of the best shallow water fishermen on the entire Elite Series the last decade. And to see what guys like Jordan Lee did in the Classic, and to see what Dustin Connell is potentially doing here, I think a lot of times we overlook the magnitude of that.
You're exactly right, Z. You just look at the top 5 we have there according to Bass Track, and you've got a sensational rookie that came up through the College Carhartt Series, and you've got the VanDam train, and then, like you mentioned, 2 more guys that for a decade or more certainly considered closers, the best shallow water fishermen in the business, Bobby Lane and Skeet Reese. Let's not forget about him. He's slipping his way right on up in there, top 5 also.
And it's tremendous. I know you like this too, Z, to get to see a lot of diversity of approaches. People doing different things on this final day, even in a place that's uniformly shallow.
And really, that's been the coverage that I've seen through this event has been the diversity of the techniques and how guys have caught them. The VanDams have had that sneaky jerkbait gig going on, throughout this tournament, and obviously that they've been in a pretty big numbers game on an otherwise lower number tournament. And to me, and I've always said this with you, Tommy and Davey, with the tournaments that we've covered, the most diverse ones, even if they're a tough event, which this is, relatively speaking, a tough tournament compared to obviously where we're going to Bass.Fest next. Man, to have that diversity and to see which technique in some way, shape, or form rises by the end of Championship Monday, to me, are the best tournaments to cover together.
Sona, I got a question for you because this is surprising to me. Which is most surprising to you, that Dustin Connell basically has these shallow mats to himself up the river, or the fact that we're watching the VanDams in this dirty water catch fish doing what they love to do, throwing a jerkbait?
I think Dustin's situation to me is a complete anomaly. Here's why I say that, Davey, is your Tommy Biffles and Fred Rumbanis's and Cliff Crochet's, they were supposed to find that same stuff Dustin is fishing. Yep. Every tournament that we cover with those guys, they're as far off the grid as you can get, which on the negative, we never have good cell service with them.
Yeah, that's the trade-off.
But to me, that's a very strange situation. Look, if we were on a Rayburn or a Toledo Bend or a place like that where guys can get spread out, that's one thing. But for him to really be left alone the entire week, to me, is I don't know how that happened. I just don't understand that.
I don't either. And the names you mentioned, along with several more of Bill Owen, we could just go on and on. But the ones you mentioned for sure, they had to go upriver. This is what they live for. This is the type stuff that they love to fish. And you got a young rookie he's up there all by himself and leading the tournament.
You never can.
And here's the thing. That's obviously why he's not had to divide fish throughout this event, which is obvious that he's had free reign of that region of the lake. And I'll throw something else out there, Davey. Tommy, I'm going to take a right-hand turn here, and we always talk about, the Carhartt College Series and the kid, I call them kids that have come out of there. Look, if you're a Carhartt angler and you're not in class today, VanDam kids, Zona kids, whatever it might be, and you're watching this, there is something in the region of the country from Tuscaloosa to the Tennessee line that those kids that left high school and then went on to college fishing, and we actually talked about this at the Classic, is the diversity of the fisheries, the diversity of the bodies of water that the Matt Lees, Jordan Lees, Dustin Connells, and Tommy, if you remember, Dustin Connell's college career really kind of got shadowed by Jordan.
Sure.
But he was a monster.
Oh, absolutely.
He was in every single show that you and I did together. But it's kind of weird. He was a little bit overshadowed by Jordan. But here's the thing. Those kids in that region of the country come to the Elite Series so incredibly prepared for what they're going to see on the water, whether it's with a punching rod with an 1.5 ounce weight or a spinning rod fishing like we did at Cherokee. That region of the country offers it. And here's the other side of that. There's a lot of other places in the country that just do not have that diversity that Central Alabama to Northern Alabama offers these guys.
You know, you and I talked about this several times. You think of the diversity throughout a season of the Bassmaster Elite Series, and we talked about this. Who's the guy we saw on our coverage more than anyone else through the course all the way from the St. Johns River all the way up north? Who's the guy who was on the most?
Jordan.
Jordan Lee. Absolutely.
And the other side of that, Tommy, was if you really, really, really dug into last year and the coverage of Jordan, every one of them was a different technique. It was frogging on the Mississippi. It was throwing a drop shot on Cayuga. It was sight fishing at St. John's. It's almost like they come out of college, out of Alabama, and they are ready for whatever defense is thrown at them in the ball game.
Zona, that's a great point. The college series has really added to that, but those guys have a bunch of dads and uncles that are great fishermen in that area of country. And mentioning last year, who's the guy we saw so much? Jordan Lee would be certainly one name. Another guy from that area, Gerald Swindle, happened to be our Angler of the Year.
Absolutely, yeah. Great.
No doubt about it. And here's the other thing. All those college kids, they got a pretty darn good network they all hang with.
Exactly. That's what I was mentioning. There's some great fishermen because of the diversity. There's a lot of different options in that area of the country. These guys, we talked about Dustin Connell, looks like he's at home in the Alabama River.
Yeah, we got a pipeline.
I definitely wanted to do this all weekend long for Dustin Connell, and that's just, I mean, it's two words. It's talking about roll tide.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. I'm sorry.
That's right.
But guys, I got to tell you something, and I mean this sincerely. I had a little bit of a breakdown yesterday. I tuned in. I got to see, that we were being postponed to today. I am actually going to therapy with separation anxiety. I did not know what it was. But I'm having it, guys, and I miss the gang.
Did they find you wandering around a water treatment facility or something yesterday? Is that what it was?
No,
No.
Karen had found me in a corner of the tackle barn, and I was kind of in a fetal position, and I was sucking on my thumb, giggling at the same time.
Okay, let me get a number from you here, Z. I think all three of us can agree that Dustin Connell is going to get his limit today. The track he's on right now, if he just scratches out a normal limit, what's the number that the VanDams have to look forward to? Anyone else? Reese, Bobby Lane? I mean, what do they have to get at least in order to be playing at the end of the day?
Those guys have got to scare that 17 to 18 pound mark to have a prayer at catching him in my. Davey was talking about it. I was listening to that. This is prime post front punch and weather. It doesn't matter if you're in Florida or Texas or Mississippi here. If you read Bassmaster magazine, the days to go punching are the days y'all are staring at today.
Yep.
And really, you know what's really kind of tracking Jonathan and Kevin, those guys made huge late day culls on days 1, 2, and 3 because you'd see them creep around that 13 to 14 pound mark, and then you'd see what Kevin would lay. I'll tell you something that was very telling. And, Davey, I texted you after the day one weigh-in. I said, Kevin's going to wreck him. The reason why I said that, I did not get to speak to him at all. He was as giddy on stage with Mercer when that wind started blowing. And look, you've been around him enough. You know his mannerisms when he's going to wreck them, and he had those mannerisms after days 1 and 2.
He certainly did. You've got him pegged also, Z. You could just tell. You didn't even have to talk to him. If you know him just a little bit, you could just see it.
Z, explains to both Jonathan VanDam and Kevin were quoted as saying this place reminds them of Lake St. Clair, which I think probably surprised a lot of people. But elaborate, why would they say something like that?
I think it's flatness. I think it's. I really think a lot of the. If you listen to Jonathan, if you listen to him talking about, man, I see him belly on the bottom. They're hugged out and they're not worming a little bit on his graph and stuff like that. When you're at Lake St. Clair, Davey, you have won there, and we have fished there together. Little irregularities from 3 feet to 4.5 feet. Not massive, obvious irregularities. I really think what those guys have concentrated on are just those small, subtle irregularities and ditches on these flats where, I know this sounds crazy, but a little 12-inch drop contour change is enormous to those fish and how they use them.
So tell us a little bit more, because I was fortunate enough to win at St. Clair, but you've got a whole lot more time than I do on that body of water, and the VanDams did compare this to Lake St. Clair. And Kevin just said multiple times about the Lake Master map, how much it was helping him. Tell us a little bit more about how you use that map on a place like this, Lake St. Clair, where Kevin and Jonathan are using it here.
Well, and here's what I always say this about the mapping that's out now. It's a blessing and a curse, because it's a blessing because you can a lot of times drive up to a little contour shift to where throughout the history of time that took decades to learn those little irregularities. But the mapping, whether it's finding a creek channel or finding a vein or a gut or a small trench and stuff like that, that mapping really, Trenas. I went there.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
It just shows those little irregularities and little ditches, and I guarantee you, I heard Kevin say it this morning. We ain't gonna run out of fishing places to go to, and it seems like he and Jonathan have had free reign of what they're doing in this event.
Kevin VanDam mentioned the last time we were able to get a good signal from him. I got 2 more places that are much better. I'm anxious to find out when we do pick him up again if he has made it to those places yet. It looks like Dustin Connell's getting closer and closer to being a solid signal for us, so that's good news for the next hour upcoming. But I don't want to put the cart before the horse, Z, but we're going to Sam Rayburn next, and we're promoting that a little bit. I'd like for you to chime in on that because you've been there very recently.
Yeah, I think it'll be the best tournament of the year. My gosh, Davey, when I was there, I came back to studio and I was working with you guys. I mean, it's very feasible to have 75 to 100 fish days on Rayburn right now. And the other thing about Rayburn and the shape that the lake is in with grass, what's interesting to me is Rayburn and Toledo Bend seem to always bounce back and forth where this one shines, this one's off, this one's off, this one shines. What the shape that the grass was in, look, I think we all look for this to be heavily favored as an offshore tournament, but I'm going to tell you, there is enough shallow water cover there for it to be as diverse as any tournament that we have had this year. And the other thing that I'm excited about is just the sheer numbers of what can be caught there right now.
So what's your thoughts on the winning weight there? Do you think it'll be 100 pounds?
I don't think it'll be 100, but I think it'll be very, very, very close. I do. I think you're going to have 80 to contend in the event. But I think you're going to have to be snooping that 88 to 92 pound range to walk away with that.
Certainly looking forward to that one.
Davey, I'd like to throw something. Tommy, if you don't mind me doing for the Such over there.
Oh yeah.
Is hashtag Bass Live.
Easy.
Is I heard something that David Phoenix asked yesterday or earlier. I was listening to one of the questions. Why so much of a swim jig? And I was listening to Davey about that. Is the swim jig's been a staple for really the last decade. It's almost like if you look at a lot of the places that we go, it's almost like it's replaced a spinnerbait notoriously on a lot of those bodies of water. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
And what's weird is it's almost like a spinnerbait just naturally slowed down throughout the country, and whatever bass had a baby, that they don't bite it as well as they used to in the 80s.
Well, that's it. I agree with you. It seems like that, but the big key that I think with all baits, you've got to throw it to catch on, and people just don't throw it as much because the swim jig seems to come through this, or doesn't seem to. It definitely comes through this cover better. But the way plastics have advanced, where you have that vibration on these creature baits that these guys can attach to a jig, so you've got the thump and vibration that you had of the spinnerbait, and you can also fish it more effectively through the cover.
Yeah, the spinnerbait.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And I do. I believe it'll be a yet another big player where we're headed next. I do.
All right, very good. Z, thank you so much. I know you're recovering from a massive weekend of activation. I know you've...
Tommy, doggone it, I miss you, baby. I miss you guys, man.
We miss you incredibly.
Well,
You'll be back. You'll be back with us soon enough. We'd be looking for that next Zona Live. You and Uncle Kevin certainly knocked their lights out the last time. That was most enjoyable. I know you'll be keeping us posted on upcoming plans for that. We got to take a break right now. But Z-Train, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be seeing you very, very soon. Got the weigh-in coming up. Dave Mercer going to crank it up an hour earlier than you were expecting. We've been having it at 4:15 Eastern. It's 3:15 Eastern today. We'll crank them up right there, and we'll get our 12 anglers all in. Should be no problem getting around the day. We'll have a great weigh-in at 3:15, 2:15 p.m. Central Time. Right now, it's Dustin Connell. Started the day with the lead, and he maintains this lead. We head into, completing the first half of fishing.
Facts matter. All monofilament is not the same. Berkley is the strongest, smoothest, most dependable monofilament line in the world. Why would you risk your fishing trip to a line that's made who knows where just to save a buck? Berkley has been making and perfecting trilene in America for over 75 years. I spool nothing less than the best. That's Berkley trilene, and that is a fact.
Champions aren't born, they're created. Every turn of the prop, every mile on the lake, every cast of the rod, every fish they catch, and every pound they weigh. It builds who they are. It builds a legacy.
For your 2016 Bassmaster Angler of the Year!
Hey, thanks, Dave. Out of office? Oh, man. Hi, this is Skeet.
Out of office?
Dude, don't be mad because I thought of it.
What?
I gotta go. I got someone on the line.
Go to teamgtfishing.com to check out my real job.
We're supposed to be working. I am working.
Is there a place where the underwater images are the clearest you've ever seen? We're seeing every fish, we're seeing every detail of structure, and where every bottom contour was visible, where whatever you wanted to see below the surface was real. Do you want to go? Structure Scan 3D is the future of fishing. We can show you how to find fish faster and catch fish in a way you've never experienced. Let's get them.
Is this being in the moment? Is this hanging out? And is this really playing with your kid? Don't stop what you're doing to capture what you're doing. Keep running, keep playing, keep dancing. Just keep doing.
GoPro, start recording.
You're watching the Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Elite at Ross Barnett. Brought to you live by Lowrance.
I tell you how that whole deal went down. I flipped off in some stuff and I saw a fish roll on it and I missed him on a flipping weight. I leaned down real quick and I grabbed my swim jig and I just flipped it over and he bit it. I started fighting him. I swung him in the boat. Well, he come off in the air. He hit the gunnel of the boat, and I dove on him and tried to grab him, and he's sitting there still flopping, so I got him in the boat, though. It was about a 3-pounder.
Well, it didn't happen today. It happened yesterday, but this stuff is solid gold. We gotta show you this. We're just now getting our hands on it because the signal was tough yesterday for live broadcast. But this is our Power Pole replay of the day. Dustin Connell up the Pearl River from Lake Ross Barnett and just absolutely having, well, a career day. No doubt about that.
Certainly is. And diving on that 3-pounder that came off right when he was swinging it in the boat. Got his chance to win his first Elite Series tournament in his rookie season. I'd certainly be diving on that 3-pounder also.
We had trouble. We got to explain it for you. We had trouble, and we're having trouble today with some of our pictures from time to time, just because live transmission is a tough technological ask anytime you tee it up. But we always roll tape every day, and of course now we got our hands on that recorded full quality version to share with you today, and that has been very helpful today in understanding what's going on this fourth and final day of the tournament. Happy Monday to you. Thanks for being with us. We got another 30 minutes of Bassmaster Live before we take our midday break. That'll be just a 1-hour break. You're used to us taking an hour and a half in the middle of the day, and we'll be taking a 1-hour break and be back for a final 3 hours before too long. But right now, let's take it out to Dustin Connell.
Still, it's 9:30. We got 3 in the box, 2 big boxes, done. 2 4-pounders, it's over. I ain't gonna fish with the small ones down there. You know, you can catch a bunch of fish down there, but it's really hard to catch a big one. It's hard to catch a big one anywhere, but I think the later it gets, the more they get tucked in there where I need them at.
We talk about maturity of these young anglers. He's not worried about just catching numbers. He knows if he catches 2 quality fish, it's over.
It's over.
He put the signal right across. He's going to cut somebody's head off kind of deal. So to have a young angler like Dustin Connell to be that savvy and that aggressive, to try to win this thing, not just have a good showing like a lot of guys his age might want to do, it shows he's got a lot of multiple day tournament experience under his belt for sure.
Absolutely, he's aggressive. He's a motivated guy. There's no doubt about that. We saw that from the very first footage we had of him this morning. This is something he wants very, very badly, and he's determined
These
to get it
trees,
done.
buddy, they will get you. I guess Brandon Card found that out.
What's he talking about?
I'm gonna flip this little corner right up here. We're gonna go hit that good stuff.
I'll have to agree with him. If he catches 2 4-pounders, be really tough for any of those guys to.
Now, KVD completed his limit. Steve Bowman sent in a blog saying that Bass Track has him for 9 1/4, 9 and change, but he thinks he's closer to 11 and could be right neck and neck with Dustin Connell.
Kevin VanDam currently sort of missing in action from our coverage right now. He's in a spot tucked in somewhere where we can't get a picture of him, but as soon as we get where we got picture and sound, we will ask the man himself and clear this mystery up.
Well, I can't say enough. Dustin really dodged a bullet. Didn't get that rain like it was forecasted because he's so far up there. Had it rained 4 or 5 inches, that would be rolling red right now. Got good service there. He said he's going to fish down to this corner and go over to the good stuff. I hope.
All right. I hope the good stuff is where we can
see
find
the good
it.
stuff.
Tree.
Here he's making a move now. Don't go far.
Yeah, we think of rivers that are up and rolling. We think of his home river, the Alabama River, maybe the last time we were there. First couple of days of that tournament that Edwin Evers won. My goodness, that was something else.
Oh, it's a grind. It really is. This will be the toughest day of all of them. Front's coming in, bluebird sky. But we got a hot tree in front of us.
If you weren't tuned in yesterday, a hot tree, Dustin Connell's definition of a hot tree is one that he definitely thinks there's some big fish living in. So
he thinks there might be a fat bag in the hot tree.
Yes.
Does that need to be in a sneak hole, though?
Snake hole.
Absolutely.
Yeah, snake hole.
Are you
hot
kidding
tree.
me?
Snake hole hot tree. And we got service. Get to watch him fish his hot tree.
People may laugh at that and think that's just a young kid saying, but I think it kind of makes you laugh. It brings character to the sport that you have younger people that call, a big bag of fish or a good pattern with different words, and seeing the excitement when they say, it's cool to see that.
That's how any sport moves forward. The language changes and everything else changes a little bit.
Well, it sure looks good. Green tree laying out in the river. Doesn't seem to be any current right there, which is just out of the current, probably just what you look for. Can't help but just sit and watch this when he's fishing the hot tree. Waiting on it to happen.
Loving the coverage. Mentioned our leader, Dustin Connell, leading now.
Can't get bit out here nowhere.
Bassmaster Rookie of the Year standings right now. And the fact that he's, 7th place right now in Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year points, Ronnie. So he's really, really got a great
fierce
season,
battle.
a great rookie season going on right now. And of course, that battle for Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, you can't take your eyes off of that. Fierce, like you say. Right at the top, Ott Defoe and Jason Christie for the first time passing Ott Defoe in that list right now.
Boy, that's a list. Look at the top 5, you just keep going down. But
oh my God,
Jason Christie, Ott Defoe, Greg Hackney, Kevin VanDam, Todd Fairclough, all those guys have either won Toyota Angler of the Years or been right there, almost sealing the deal in Todd Faircloth's case.
Dustin Connell finds himself right in the middle of murderer's row right there, as they say. He's going to have, if he does some damage in that, he will know he's beaten the best, for sure.
If you could sit in class at Alabama dreaming of a Bassmaster Elite Series rookie year, be leading Rookie of the Year and also be in 7th place in Toyota Bassmaster Angler Year points, what you could only dream of. And
enjoy this year, that's for sure.
On day 3, guys, Ott Defoe and J.C. Christie both made the cut, but Ott Defoe only managed 1 fish, dropped from the early 40s down to 51st, last place of the guys who made the day 3 cut. So those lost points on day 3, you know, we call it moving day. Jason Christie held steady in the 20s, and that's why he was able to take that lead.
We'll see what the introducing a real slugfest into the equation does to those standings after we get through with our next stop down at Sam Rayburn. That'll be interesting as well.
Especially since, not that it may translate, you know, in different patterns, but Christie just finished 2nd at Toledo Bend, which is within 20 minutes of Sam Rayburn, so.
Got to count for something.
There might be a few more of those hot trees in his best area after the wind and those tornadoes that were around.
Some brand new ones in there.
Boy, you really do look for these green trees laying out right at the edge of the river current. It's certainly a great place to be able to catch a big fish. He's working it over for sure. Just probably 30 flips to this one tree. Got a few spectators following today.
Let's ease on up.
Go out and see some history made. Can't blame them. O'Shea finally making it out to the main lake right there, and you can see there's still some breeze available today on Ross Barnett.
He basically just fished one tree, made that stop, fished the one tree. You saw a lot of other trees that were falling down along that same area, but none of them had that green vegetation still on. Stops on another one similar. It's been those green trees and the mat, the hyacinths and that sort of thing that provide mats.
Dave, you got a question. Michael Burry wants to know if you think he's fishing too fast, him and Poche.
I personally don't think he's fishing too fast. He made a lot of presentations to one specific target, and we saw Jonathan and Kevin doing a little bit of that. He's fishing fast, but he's got it dialed in. He's fishing very specific trees or mats.
Bass place. I hit that yesterday, I remember. Yeah, I gotta go hit that spot place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How come you didn't hold that fish out?
What fish?
That spotted bass.
I needed to hold that big one up. That was a big spot.
really did. I told Trip about it, and he couldn't believe it.
He was like, really?
Well, you just go catch another.
There's something there. I could win that tournament right there. I really could. I know I'll get a bite or two right there. I don't know how big they'll be, but if I catch a good one and a couple keepers, I make me feel a lot better. I can come down here and flip. I got one stretch that I've been kind of holding out on. I hadn't really pounded it. I don't know why. Something's telling me I need to go there. It's a really good stretch down there. Pick every little piece apart. I just want to get up here in enough time down there. When it gets good, I'll be there. I don't want to wait till the end of my day and then have to go through all these idle zones. Go on up here, get that spotted bass or two in the boat. Hopefully, go back down and daub up a big one.
You thought about how much weight you got to have today to actually...
I think I need 13 pounds. If I catch 11, 12, 13 pounds, that means they got to catch them. And if they do, congratulations. I mean, these are the best guys out there, so they deserve it. But this is the winning deal right here. I don't think the rain messed them up. I just think the water rose just a tad. They're just kind of scattered. I ain't hit my really good stuff down there yet. I'm gonna stay down there the rest of the day. I hadn't even hit this yet. This just looks, I mean, it's kind of tucked in there, but I'm gonna flip it. I'm going up here. Once I get up here, we're gonna try to catch a spotted bass and then come back down and do this the rest of the day.
He's gone up a little farther up the river, and it sounds like this is as far as he's going to go, and then he's going to go back down. And he caught, I think we've got the footage of him on day
right there. It's a little
2 or
trash
3
matted up. It might be just enough though.
We've got footage of him catching a really nice spotted bass.
Yeah, I was hoping they'd pull that up. Maybe we still can see that before we hit break time, because that was impressive.
The spotted bass like more
You never
current,
know where
so
one's going to be. You just got to fish. It's a headache, but
it's natural for them
something's
to be
telling me to go
farther
catch
up.
some spots up there. I don't know why. Probably because I love catching spotted bass. These largemouth, they don't really like bluebird skies.
I think that was a quick stop before he goes where he caught the spotted bass now, if I understood him right.
Yeah, we've got that spotted bass down. That just was impressive. Take a look at this from yesterday, as we watched Dustin run up to his next spot, so to speak.
Boom, son, big old spotted bass, huh? That's a big old spot right there. Boom! Big old spot, dude. Are you kidding me? I can't get away from the spots. That's a 3.5. Gosh. When it's your tournament, I guess it's your tournament. I don't know. That's a big one. Look at that. Goodness.
Notice a little riprap there. It's on a corner, I would assume, because of that riprap, trying to keep it from eroding. So hopefully we're going to be able to follow him up to a spot, and if there's some riprap, we'll be looking forward to maybe him catching another big spotted bass.
to circle back around to that question about is he fishing too fast, it looks to me like he knows what the high percentage places are. He's not going to waste any time on anything else. It looks like he's going fast though, but he's got a plan.
I think you're exactly right. Where Keith O'Shea seems to be just randomly going fast.
Yeah.
Yep. Not saying that that's not what he needs to do if he's out of fish and his best place, he said, was trash because of the wind and the dirty water. You have to do what you have to do, but fortunately, the upriver here hasn't changed a whole lot. He said it looked like it came up just a little bit, and he's just got it dialed in. He wants to fish exact little specific spots, the green trees and the floating vegetation for the most part, but let's see if he stops here on this riprap corner.
Interesting. He said he wants to get this stretch of the river out of the way too, because you see, now we can see they got a lot of no wake zones. They got some swimming beaches there and so forth.
Yeah,
you got to slow down.
I got a good stretch down there. I got a feeling that's where I'm gonna catch them at. I've caught 3 5-pounders down that stretch. So that's perfect right there. Perfect.
There's one of the lifeguards right there on the left.
Yeah. He mentioned that's perfect there. You see the green, there's a little vegetation, but it also looks like a green tree or a top that's out there. But you can also see the leaves that are moving by the outside edge of that. It's got just current right on the edge of it with an eddy just real close. And I would describe that as perfect also, but. Fish can stay in the cover that they want to stay in and be in and out of the current without ever leaving the tree. And it not being a tree as big as that one that he described as a hot tree where there's a million places that fish could be. It's just small enough in the right spot.
Ease on up.
You nailed it, Tommy. He's
trying to knock this out and trying to knock it out as fast as he can.
He's got specific places that he knows they should be, and that's what he fishes, and he moves to another one. I hope we can stay with him until he gets to that little riprap corner where he said he knows some spots are going to be there, and he said, I know I'll get a few bites there.
Interesting point, the spots, spotted bass, not so bothered by the bluebird day as a largemouth. That's good critical thinking right there.
Yep.
Current addicted fish, that's pretty good.
For a rookie, for sure.
I think he thinks these things out pretty well.
Yep. We running out of time for our break, Tommy?
Just now, we're getting Dustin Connell pictures. We're getting Kevin VanDam popping back.
Do we have to go to break?
We have to go to break. We have to take our midday break, but we're going to keep rolling all the way through the break, so we won't miss any good catches. I promise you. If they're available to our live technology, we will have them for you in about 1 hour. We're not going to take that hour-and-a-half break today. We'll give you your full 6 hours of Bassmaster Live, but we're just going to break it up with a 1 hour break instead of a 90-minute one. Don't forget the weigh-in coming up today at 3:15 Eastern Time. We'll be back with second half of our coverage at 12 Eastern Time for 3 more hours. So much fun being able to do this on a Monday. Makes Blue Monday a little less blue, doesn't it?
It sure does. And the afternoon should be very exciting because Dustin mentioned that he thinks the bite is better in the afternoon. He's going to be down the lake more he'll be closer to Kevin and Jonathan VanDam, Keith Poche. So hopefully we'll have service on all of them. Don't forget about Bobby Lane, Skeet Reese. They're right there also.
That looks good.
Dustin Connell trying to hang in there after that great work on day number 3. It's been back and forth between Kevin VanDam and him all day long. We've been sort of adjusting, tweaking the scores on what we think